Hello, everyone, and welcome to Expanded Understanding. It is the 20th of May, 5/20, 2020. So many 20s. What are we going to do with
True.
ourselves? Aaron,
What are we gonna do with all those 20s? I don't know. Turn them into three twos, which is six, and six is a great number, and it makes me happy, and that's what we're gonna do with it.
but what does three zeros make when you add them together?
That's a triple space holder, I
Anything
guess.
you want.
That's right.
We got Golden Age Alchemy on the show tonight. We're going to talk about
Yay!
life purpose. What is it? How do we find it? What do we do with it? How does it affect us? And whatever questions you have in the chat, we'd love to answer those as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. We got Kevin, we got Sam, Charlotte, Nina, Sam, Jasmine. Jen's floating around somewhere, getting her stuff ready. Willow,
Maya
good to see you.
just
Maya,
popped
good to
in.
see you. Everyone, good to see you. Thank you for being here. We love you very much. Very good to see you guys tonight. So, yeah, like I said, we got the old Golden Age Alchemy on here. She's not very old, actually. She's like 20 something, but you know, she's probably also like 25,000 years old based off the stuff that she teaches. So, nevertheless, she is a great meditation teacher, guide. She's an alchemist. She's a lot of things. She's really good at handling a social media platform. I'm actually quite jealous of the way that she handles her social media platform sometimes. I just don't have time to do it as well. So, really appreciate what she's doing there. Uh, yeah. So she just did a throat chakra activation. Perhaps some of you attended it. She will be here in a moment. She actually was already in the stream, but then she dropped out of the stream.
Yeah,
So
so that.
apparently she had something very important to do, which is
Mm-hmm.
good. I told her already earlier that we were totally fine just doing an intro for a while in case she needed some more time, because I knew that she was
Yeah,
yeah,
cool.
just got done activating, I don't know, 100 plus people's throat chakras. Seemed like there was a lot of purging going on when I was in there. Lots of people talking about a lot of burping and coughing and other things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Got to keep that throat chakra activated. Don't need so much throat chakra activations for myself because I never shut up. So, pretty activated. So,
Throw
we
chakra
got a
alignments. Those are always good. There
yeah,
she
it's
is.
good to align it. Good to put things in a line. Let's see. Let's bring something up on the screen first. I don't know what. Let's see. Golden Age Alchemy.com. I think that's a website. I think that's her website. We'll have it up here. It is indeed her website. Zach found it. Good job. Good job having things named the same as your other stuff. This is the thing here. Ta-da! There is
Awesome.
Claudia, and here is Claudia again.
Hi, Claudia. Good to
Hey
see you.
Aaron, hey Zach.
Hello, Claudia. It looked like your throat chakra activation went well earlier. Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, it was really good. It's crazy because someone actually puked.
Mm.
So that you know how in plant medicine, like you were with ayahuasqueros, right, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so like it's just awesome to see how people can, release so much just using their own energy. So it was super powerful. You guys can get the recording. It's on my IGTV. So
Awesome.
definitely if you're having any thyroid issues, like if you have a locked jaw or anything like that, it's really, 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 really powerful. And to help you just, be more confident speaking your truth.
I've found that the open throat chakra really helps us be more authentic, and that helps in our communication both with others and ourselves a lot. That's my favorite thing about the throat chakra.
Definitely. And also like in communication, like, with your mind and your heart. Cause the third eye is here, so our intuition is here and then our heart is here. And a lot of the time we're battling between the two. And once like your throat is open, then you're like, oh, okay, the stream of communication between the
Mm.
mind and the heart becomes open. And so much
Yeah,
clarity flows.
important doorway to sit between those two things. Definitely.
Yeah, it's so awesome. Thank you for having me.
It's very
I
good to
love
have
your
you back.
room.
Very good.
We really appreciate you being interested in the channel and all the work that you do. You're doing a very wonderful job, and I really appreciate that. I want to take a second to show some gratitude for you for that. Really like what you're doing.
I love what you guys are doing too. I love how we're both like creating platforms for people to connect. You know, like it's so important for us to continue like coming to these spaces because you know you're not crazy. I mean, yes, you are crazy, and if you're not crazy, then there's something wrong with you. If you're like normal, you know, in this crazy world. But it's so important for you to be surrounded by like-minded people who are creating a safe space for us, you know, in our awakening journey and everything that we're going through.
Yeah, definitely. Right now is an important place for anybody that is providing some kind of togetherness. I think they're playing a really important role because this whole social distancing thing can lead to a fairly isolating and non-communal experience. And I don't think that's a good place for a communal organism to be, really.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be here without our community. We would just be little amoebas made of single cells floating around in a world of other single-celled amoebas, which might
Social
be fun
distancing
too.
Socially
Socially distancing, yeah, they always observe social distancing because they actually do not have the ability to coagulate yet. So, pretty good. Mello here says that funny we should be talking about the throat chakra. My friend just gave Sodalite and said it told her I was meant to have her. Clearly, I need that work. What are your feelings about like Sodalite or other crystals for working with the throat chakra?
Yes, they're so important, right? Like, so I have one in my pocket. Like, I just like love carrying these crystals around everywhere because they're sort of resonating, right? Like they have this energy force field. They're like spitting out little energies, if you want to think about it that way, like just spitting out ions. So, and these are helping you to sort of with your own aura because you're also radiating a field too, right? So I'm sure you guys have like seen the aura and then the heart. The heart has its own electromagnetic field, so does the mind. So this helps us align that. And sort of crystals help us to absorb all the stress, the anxiety. So the crystals works to absorb all of that dense stuff, you know, that we're sort of clinging onto, and then it helps us feel lighter. So it's definitely really good. I definitely recommend that you put your Sodalite on top of your throat and just connect with it that way in meditation. Like, and then it's going to do wonderful things for you. You can
Just
also
don't put it on your throat chakra too hard.
you know what's so crazy? Somebody just sent me a video on Instagram, and they put a lapis lazuli crystal on their throat chakra, and it was pulsating.
Oh,
Like it
wow.
was beating. It was a video. I'm gonna ask if I can screen record it so I can share that with people. But you know, these are living and breathing beings, and the crystals resonate on the 5th dimension. You know, so they're helping you to integrate those higher vibrations into your own physical body. So yes, definitely recommend you guys working with crystals. They're very beautiful tools, and a gift from Mother Earth.
That's interesting. It was Jasmine in our chat that had the lapis lazuli on her throat.
Oh,
I'm looking at the video right now. That was an awesome video.
So you said that the chakras or the crystals absorbing the energy. Do you cleanse your stones frequently? Do you allow them to do that themselves? How do you handle that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you definitely need to be cleansing your crystals, just like how you charge your phone every single night. Where's my phone? Just like how you charge your phone every single night, you should be charging your crystals and cleansing your crystals. So like my phone right now is at 27%. So every time that you're stressed, every time that you're anxious, every time that you're afraid or worried, your crystal is going to absorb that fear. So then its battery is going to go down. So that's why you need to charge it back up so that it's resonating at 100% its frequency. So there's so many different things that you guys can do. One of the easiest things is just go place it on Mother Earth, because the Earth has an ozone layer and magnetic layer, right? So when you place it on the Earth, that layer is going to activate like something inside of the crystal, and it's going to recharge the crystal with her ions. So it's really easy, simple way for you to do that. Oh, that's cool. There you go.
It is.
Thanks for letting us share that, Jasmine.
Yeah, awesome.
That is so cool. You guys, it looks like a heartbeat, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's
That's
what I was gonna say.
wild. Yeah. So her throat chakra was definitely activated.
We talk about bringing our chakras into alignment, and it seems in certain ways that like kind of aligning the pulses of energy in our body, be it the heartbeat, the brain wave, or the chakra, might be really what we're bringing into alignment. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. Everything is about aligning, right? Everything. That's sort of balance, like bringing alignment, bringing balance back into your life, back into your body, back into your spirit.
Hmm.
That's the key to a healthy, happy, joyful life.
I think another key for a happy, healthy, joyful life, segue time, is purpose. Can you get us started on talking about purpose, Claudia?
Mhm.
What is it to you? Why is it important? Guide us.
Mm. Well, can we ask like the chat, like what do people think purpose is? I'm also curious to hear like what people think purpose, or because maybe it means different things to different people, right?
Hmm.
So I like to know from people in the chat like how they think about purpose. How do they define it? Because
Mm,
when we think about purpose, like I can think about it as like, oh, in my current reincarnation, right? As Claudia Acha, as this in this human body, but also I'm a multidimensional being,
Hmm.
and I have a purpose on the fifth, seventh dimension. I'm still, I also still believe that we're experiencing the past, the present, the future at the same time.
Hmm.
So you have this purpose across space, time, and dimensions. So that's what I'm learning to sort of shift my perspective into. So how can I embody my multidimensional self in this present moment, in this present lifetime, to do the highest like soul mission that I have,
Hmm.
mm,
because like space and time are just so intertwined, and they're also kind of don't exist, right?
Right.
So so when I think about purpose, I think about, okay, so I clearly am here in a physical vessel for a reason. I got this body for a reason. And everybody who's reincarnated right now, and I've said this before, there's a huge ass line to get into a physical body, because you can only achieve nirvana. Well, not only achieve nirvana, but it's the easiest way to achieve nirvana in a human body. Like it's just the easiest plane. Even like angelic beings and spirit guides and all and gods and stuff, it's more difficult for them to achieve nirvana than it is for us. It's
mm,
just the nature of us having emotions and all the different interplays that happen here on this
Hmm.
on the earth plane. And so everyone who's reincarnated right now is like, you're super special. And before you signed your contract to have this body at a specific time in human history, like we all made this choice, and we all made this choice to connect. Like even right now, like with this conversation that we're having,
mhm.
like we already had planned this, before we reincarnated. And of course we can veer off the path. You can veer off the path of your soul purpose, and that's when your life starts going downhill. Because and what's super fascinating, where spirit guides sort of come in with your soul purpose, is like, if you're not following your soul purpose, then you're gonna, and if your angel has tried to send you all the loving messages, all the signs, all the angel numbers, but you're still not listening, then the angel will talk to a demon, and they'll be like, all right, get this person back on track. Because the demon is not there to do bad. It's not like bad and good, the angel's good. No, it's like they're both playing a role. And so if you're
Mm,
not following your life purpose, then you're going to get sick. You might have a car accident. You might have some sort of like shocking event that just forces you to wake up. And so when people have the dark night of the soul, you can also think about it that way. I mean, how many people have truly awakened without going through a dark night of the soul? And that's just because as
mm.
humans, it's so much easier for us to change with pain, unfortunately. I don't know,
I feel like
what do
it's
you
pretty
guys think about that?
effective to do the Dark Night of the Soul. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like going to school for 24 hours a day for a little while. Like you have to focus on something that can enhance you, really.
Yeah.
So Kevin here said that he feels that purpose is doing what makes you your best self, 24/7, 365. Nina feels that purpose is 100% alignment, and Jasmine feels as being true to yourself always. Kevin's personal purpose is sound, good, bad, that's it. I'm manipulated so folks can get funky.
In other words, Kevin mixes, produces, and creates his own music.
It should
So
be
we
noted
get
that
funky.
Kevin, Paranormal Portals, does make incredible music. His
Yes, he
purpose
does.
probably is sound because he's very good at it.
Mm. And that's key, right? Like, so how do you figure out what your purpose is? You figure out what you're good at. Like every single person here, like on this chat, and who's ever watching this recording, there's something that you're really good at compared to the rest of the population. Whether you're an amazing cook, you're like make the best cookies in the world, or you're an amazing artist, you write the most moving poetry, whatever it is that you do, like there's something special about you. And so some people are like, no, there's nothing special about me. And that's, that's a complete lie. And you're just afraid to share that with the world. So I think something that's really a really good exercise for people to sort of figure out, what is my purpose, like what is my talent, is to go talk to at least 5 people, like 5 close people who who really support you and resonate with you, and just ask them, what do you think I'm good at? Oh, you should ask yourself this first, like just write a whole list down and then go ask these people and then see what are the common things that they tell you. And sometimes it'll completely shock you, because to you, it's so effortless, right? Like some people are just like effortless, like speakers. Some people are just effortless video gamer, like gamers. And so for some people, they're like, oh, this is nothing. It's just so natural. But that's why you're so good at it, because it's natural to you. So that's something to bring that into your awareness. And then once you sort of find, in general, what you're good at, then start honing in on that skill and start sharing it with yourself, full out, like just pure bliss, and pour all your joy into it. And then once you get it to a space, and there's never perfection, by the way, you're never going to bake the perfect cookie, you're never going to write the most amazing poetry ever. No, like I feel like just doing good enough is like perfect, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people, like speaking about artists, like with Kevin, like I'm friends with a lot of musicians.
Kevin's gonna resonate with this so bad. Like I already know where you're going with this, and this is Kevin to a T.
So
when is enough?
When is enough, right? And so like that's such a difficult question, because I feel like we all have this high standard for ourselves, right? Because we want to be the best version of ourselves. We want to get the best cookie, the best recipe, the best poetry out there. And so
literally everyone says food, says Jasmine. Everyone wants the best cookie.
Yeah, really. So just getting it out there, I feel like that's like your number one step, and like a lot of it has to do with the inner child and being afraid of being rejected. But look at like Walt Disney, the KFC guy, Colonel Sanders, Jack Ma. Jack Ma is literally a multi-billionaire. But the most amazing thing about Jack Ma is he got denied from Harvard at least 30 times. I think he got denied like 35 times from Harvard. He got denied from working at KFC. Can you believe that? Like, who the heck gets declined from working at a fast food shop, right? And then so then he was a teacher. He got paid $10 a month. And so when he started Alibaba, like people were like, you're freaking crazy. Like, who are you? And so when he started Alibaba, he ran Alibaba for 3 years without making a dime. So they had zero revenue. And for 3 years, can you imagine you're a business owner, right? And can you just imagine having a business and having zero revenue and getting your team to follow you? Now his empire is like known across the world, and he's built a legacy. Why? Because he never took no for the final answer. And you should never, failure is a part of success. You should never avoid rejection. You're going to get rejected. Just embrace it. it's just a stepping stone. Like no person here ever, like even you, Zach, even me, right? We failed so many times. And why are we able to do what we do now? Because we've practiced this. You come on this podcast night after night after night, right? And we're constantly sharing our message. Why? Because it took a lot of time. Like, why do we have so many fans now? Why do we reach so many people across the world? Because we've done this for years. And yes, we failed. We all started with one like fan, right? One follower, and then
everybody starts with 0 followers.
Everybody starts with 0 followers, right? And then again, you have to really invest in yourself. Like invest in yourself. And what do I mean by that? Like unconditionally love yourself. And it's hard work, yes, but now the dynamics are changing. You know how I was talking about multidimensionality? So time is literally changing on our planet and time is speeding up. So the amount of time that it's going to take you to do stuff is going to be so much faster. Why? Because there's just so many things interplaying, the cosmos, but also YouTube. Like, let's just talk about YouTube. Who needs to go to college now? To be honest, I went to an Ivy League university and I didn't learn anything. All I learned was how to write. That's what I learned to do. I just learned how to write and how to think critically. Like, yes, that I got that too. But it wasn't from my classes, to be honest. It was from the conversations I was having with people out of class. So I feel that now anyone can be an expert at anything because of YouTube, because of spaces like this, you know? There's just so much wisdom everywhere. And we need to take advantage of that. And again, it's practice and then knowing that rejection is part of the process and embracing that, you know, and knowing that just get it out there. Like, I feel like self-doubt is the biggest thing that holds everybody back from fulfilling their life purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second, real quick. Speaking of failure, I'm going to remove you from the stream real quick because I want to get these cameras in the place that I want them, and I've been failing miserably with everything that I try. So just 1 second. What is it? It's order of connection? Why is she always on the bottom?
Maybe
I don't understand how this works.
Yeah.
It could be because you connected last, but I literally just disconnected and then reconnected. So I'm gonna try disconnecting one more time because I really want this fixed. Sorry, everybody. This is failure in action.
Oh, see, before it would do that, it popped me below. Okay, so what you're saying though about schooling and YouTube and stuff. So I became an incredibly good woodworker over like 3 or 4 years just because that's what I wanted to learn. And so I turned my garage into a really custom-made woodworking shop and did a whole bunch of custom stuff for our home and custom built-ins and just incredible shit that I just made up on my own, like inlaid, flush mount, inlaid LED lighting and using like frost acrylic. So that's just like all this stuff, man, really, really cool stuff that you can do totally on your own. And so I learned all that shit from like thousands, tens of thousands of Pinterest pictures, looking at different jigs and projects and things, just getting ideas, and then YouTube videos. And like, you just have to sift through the ones that aren't really helpful for you or don't articulate the way that's beneficial. But there's always channels out there that's like, holy shit, this is amazing. This is exactly what I need to know, exactly how I need to know it. And then it gives you all your own ideas to create your own things. And it just compounds from there.
Yeah, you can certainly get well educated without being educated well.
Ooh. It's true.
You just got to trudge away. That echoes what you were saying about the failure. You know, there's people have said before, you know, success is built upon a mountain of failure. And really, success is just a capstone to a pyramid that really all the rest of the bricks were failures, or at least renditions or versions that you upgraded over time until you got to the thing that you're like, this is the gleaming apex of my creation, and it is now finished. And then you leave it there, right?
Yeah, like when has anyone created anything perfect the first time ever?
No, never. That's never happened.
You know, and that's what we expect to do. So we set ourselves up for failure.
Well, we want to fail, right? Like the process of progression in a certain way is wanting to fail. That's what learning is not knowing something. So you try and you don't know how or whatever, and then you learn. So,
but people hold themselves back from even trying.
Sure. Why do you think they do that?
Well, that fear of failing. Like fear of failing is one of the top phobias.
But
apart from public
why
speaking.
does the failure, why is that something they're scared of, do you think?
So
When
for
on the other
me,
side of it lies the success.
so for me, it's all about like safety and comfort. And we as humans, we love safety. We love to control stuff. And this is part of like our evolution because before we were living in villages and we had to protect ourselves from the unknown, from unknown tigers or crocodiles who will like come in randomly.
You got to watch out for
to
those crocodiles.
for those crocodiles, they're out there. It's real.
It's
It
true.
was real back then. It was
Especially
real
Florida, it's
back
still
then.
real. Very real.
And so, but now our mind still functions that way because our mind is old. Like this is from our ancestors, and there's the old brain and the new brain. But the more that you tap into fear, you're tapping into that old brain, that old paradigm. So again, the more that you meditate, again, meditation is the foundation of like, for the spiritual path, because it allows you to come into that alignment that we started to talk about. It allows you to become the observer rather than the person in the play. You're literally the director watching all the characters, and it gives you that sort of bird's eye view of what's really happening. So for me, it's definitely about like protection from like the uncertain. Like that's the number one fear across my students and clients, like uncertainty, and also like the inner child. Like we want to protect ourselves, we want to be loved, and we want to be valued. And it sucks. It's painful to be rejected. So that feel of failure is actually coming from love. All emotions come from love, even fear. You're afraid to be vulnerable, to be rejected by that failure. So you're really protecting yourself out of love.
Yeah, I think that going back to the meditation thing, do you feel that in a certain way we're always in a format of meditation, just kind of different levels of it? I've kind of been on this meditation is mediation thing, and that everything's kind of mediation of experience. And I kind of feel like we're like always meditating, and that means that it's a really important thing to get good at, because you're always doing it.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, like your life is meditation.
Yeah. I mean, you're like always at some level, right?
Yeah, definitely. It just depends on how aware you are.
Sure.
Because have you guys, Aaron and Zach, have you guys ever walked into a room and you're like, what did I come in here for?
Oh, yeah. Only like like 1,000 times at least.
Often enough, that's a very fresh memory. Yep.
Right? So like, there you go. We're not aware. And it's like you bringing that awareness and anchoring in your breath. So you do so much breath work. And so the breath is such a powerful tool to anchor you into that awareness.
Yeah, that's kind of another one that I feel like we should get good at it because we're doing it all the time. Those are the important ones for me. Like if there's stuff that you do every single day, you should probably get good at that one if you're looking for things to get good at.
So what is the simplest way that you can explain to like a beginner? How can you breathe properly?
Really be conscious of the entire process. Don't just be like breathing autonomously, but actually focus your mind towards breathing, and then have some intention with that energy as more than a breath to be moving through your body or going into some specific place, or really, so like if we're going to keep it very like beginner, those things like be doing it on purpose, and you put some intention in that purpose to make sure that you're actually being purposeful.
Yeah, and then I just like me rolling my shoulders back and like expanding my rib cage, that's already like a game changer for me.
Yeah, like, totally. Like opening up enough to actually really be able to take a full breath. Yeah, I could benefit from that. We could probably all benefit from that one. I think we're all doing some level of heart chakra work pretty much all the time. And as a byproduct of that, we have a tendency to let the shoulders kind of sink forward every once in a while. So we have to it is helpful. You don't have to do anything. It's helpful to be conscious of that, to put the heart out there more, and really just as kind of like a yogic asana that you're always holding to kind of put your heart out there more and open it up. But also it allows you to breathe better.
I love that. I love what you said.
Yeah, so, and then breath. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Aaron.
And then breath, like sympathetic, parasympathetic. So rest and digest for general breathing or calming or centering, I guess. So being like deep diaphragmatic breathing. So being able to move and descend your diaphragm so that your stomach comes out and you're actually moving that muscle down, which opens your lower lungs. And the only way to get the gas out of your lower lungs is when you exhale all the way out and making a sound until you can't make a sound anymore. And it'll compress your lower lungs and get all that air out. And then when you breathe in through your nose, your body, 35 things happen in your body that don't normally happen when you breathe through your mouth. So being able to breathe through your nose with your tongue at the roof of your mouth, which connects the energetic and meridian circuits in your body. And then I've noticed taking a breath and then taking another breath and then taking another breath and taking another, like it can keep going. You can almost like quadruple the amount of air you think you can take in. Yeah. And so just like there's so many things within our own body. When you focus on the breath, you like find shit inside your own body. Like, holy shit, I didn't even know I could do this. And
Yeah, it's
So you're
surprising
saying-
how much you have the other way too. That's why you're talking about like the making a noise to exhale. It's just like you can't even blow out all your air unless you do something weird.
right.
You have
Yeah.
to be weird, otherwise you're not doing it right.
Be weird or you're doing it wrong. You heard it here first.
Aaron, are you saying that you
Mhm.
it's more beneficial to breathe from the mouth
Through the nose.
through the
So in
nose
through
and
the nose
exhale
with your-
out through the mouth?
Either way, but you can exhale either way, but in through the nose with your tongue at the roof of your mouth is what I was saying.
Oh, okay.
Forward and at the roof of
Oh,
your mouth.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because it
That's
creates
cool.
a circuit in there throughout your, so you can actually cycle your energy.
Mm.
And then
Not
it also
necessarily
releases.
better, but there's 35
Yeah.
things that happen that don't happen when you breathe through your mouth.
Yeah, it's probably better, but really it's just different techniques and awarenesses of what happens in your body. So like, and then also releasing your diaphragm when you can descend that down, you can release pressure off your vagus nerve, which is your central trunk for your sensory perception organ, which is primarily the nervous system. So really breathing, and that's just like some of the basics I picked up diving into it and practicing on my own. I mean, breathing, you can spend lifetimes on breathing and never find the end of it. So it's really a worthwhile topic to always dive into and diversely dive into.
Over
For
the last
sure.
30 episodes, we've found that Aaron's basic is usually not that basic.
I just have a lot of additional layers of thought processes along with what I go.
He's
So once
thought
I
about
think them
this a
out,
lot.
then I can integrate them and just do it without thinking. But that is what goes through my mind at times.
Well, that's really fascinating because a lot of people think that they have one life purpose. But just like you, right? You're like an expert in so many different things. And that's just like us. You're likely a sibling, a partner, a star seed, a light warrior, a healer, a shaman, et cetera, et cetera.
Totally.
There's so many things, and you don't have to have one main life purpose.
Yeah.
You can.
I don't
you
got a
can change
purpose.
that.
I got purpose, baby.
So is it maybe not so much about finding your purpose or having a life with a purpose, but rather purposefully living?
I love that.
Because that's really just like what I've done in my. I don't know what my purpose is. I just do stuff, and I do what really appeals to me and keeps me passionate, and then I try to do it hard. You know what I mean? Like I put a lot of time into it. I really focus on it. I'm like having some type of process that I'm using. This is the whole reason why I like alchemy, was because it like gave me some overlay to make a process out of literally anything.
Yeah.
So like I like having this like, okay, I'm doing this and then 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 I'm done. And then I look at it again and I do the process over and just constantly refine it. But it's really just like I mean, I was really into skateboarding. I was really into computers. I was really into gaming. Now I podcast every day. I've been into a lot of things. I mean, the list goes on a lot longer than that. But I've always just done them very purposefully. And I've always felt fairly aligned with what I would say is my purpose, despite the fact that oftentimes people were telling me I was wasting my life. And I think that's a danger that we need to look out for. Other people without context of like our own heart telling us what we're supposed to be doing. That's a really easy way to get disaligned from your purpose. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean that hurts. That's painful, and I feel that those wounds are in the child, because when we're children, we're like, I'm gonna be an astronaut. I'm going to do I'm gonna be the next Picasso, et cetera, and then your parents are like, oh, how about you? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a businessman? Do you want to be a lawyer? We have these like boxes that we put our children
Or
into.
even more, no, you are going to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you're gonna run the family business.
Yeah.
That's what
I
you
like
do.
those ideas, son, but it's time for those to die. That is not happening.
Yeah.
Right.
My
Yeah.
mom went the different route. She was a bit of a tricky witch herself. So when I said I wanted to be a lawyer, she was just like, that means you're gonna have to write a lot, right? And I was like, actually, I'm gonna figure out something else.
Yep.
I did not like writing at that point in time. She knew that. That's
That's
why she told me right away.
hilarious.
She was like, "This is where you're gonna run into a problem with that dream, realistically."
That's so funny because I actually wanted to be a lawyer too.
I think I would have made a great lawyer. I just
Yeah, I bet.
didn't want to write that
You
much.
just need a paralegal to do all the paperwork for you.
Yeah, little did I know that if I was actually a good lawyer, I could easily hire an assistant to do all the writing.
Right.
I'll just sign my name, read it, sign my name. It's all right though. Another life. There's Zach the attorney. Actually, he's alive right now. I'm not sure what his name is, but somewhere out there is the energetic signature that was Zach, who wanted to be a lawyer, lived out to its full potential somewhere.
It's true.
It's out there.
That's actually very true. That's another parallel lifetime. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's why we have so many gifts. Like you have so many gifts and you just need to tap into those higher potentials. Like remember that exercise I gave you, Aaron, during our astral projection class?
Mhm.
Just do that and like you can get downloads like how to I know people who've even gotten downloads of like the Vedas,
Mhm.
like the whole scriptures out of
Mhm.
nowhere. And this is available to all of us, but we
Totally.
need to tap into it.
hmm How do you
Yeah.
feel that like our purpose is aligned with that kind of morphogenetic field that really does house all information? If it houses everything, it kind of seems like maybe it's just like a buffet where you kind of just pick whichever purpose you want because they're all out there, right? So how do we look at a matrix so full of data that's available to us
Mm,
and hone in on one and call it our own?
mm. So the way that I view it is what you were saying. You just follow your heart because your heart has a vibration. So whatever vibration your heart is at, and whatever is going to come into your path, like whatever passion we all had, sometimes it just happened through synchronicity, right? It was a conversation, it was a YouTube video, it was a movie, all of these things. And so when you pay attention to your heart, you feel that vibration and you're like, oh crap, this is it. This is what makes me like feel like I can do this forever and not be bored. So I think it's very much connecting the resonance of your heart. You're like your heart Wi-Fi to the
Your heart
planetary Wi-Fi.
You got to get better bars on your Wi-Fi. If you don't hear your heart, just simply get a new router.
Reset. It's time to reset.
Perhaps just reset your router. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in again? That's what worked for me. I went to the jungle and I unplugged it and plugged it back in again. And when I came back to society, I was doing a lot better. So you say follow the heart, but a lot of times in my own work, when I've basically told people exactly that, it seems to me from moving forward that they don't really understand what is their heart talking and what is something else. What advice do you have for the person that when you tell them, let's follow your heart, they say like, well, I don't know how to hear my heart. I don't know what my heart is saying.
Yeah. Well, it's how we started this session, meditation, right? Meditation is when you quiet everything else, all the noise around, so that you can hear your true voice, your inner voice, your intuition. So all the time we're always getting data, right? Like the screen, our voices, the chat, what we ate for dinner, like all of this is lingering. And
Maybe
so,
too much data these days.
so much, and it's becoming worse. And so what this is why this ancient technology of meditation has been around forever, and all of the ascended masters have used meditation. Why? Because through meditation you automatically quiet the mind, you become more creative, you become more focused, your mood levels go up, your clarity just goes through the roof, right? So those are the benefits. Once you get really good at meditation, your psychic senses start to open up, and then you're going to start to see a different reality. And then that's where you're going to sort of interact with the multidimensional version of you. So again, meditation is the key. Meditation and breathing properly.
And I think maybe that is because that's just like I feel like that's a mediation thing coming through. In my experience, what's really gotten in the way of my conversation with my heart has been my own mental chatter, really. I feel like in my own life, I kind of had to create a space between something happening and me thinking about it to give myself a space to hear my intuition or hear my heart, because it was very easy for me, being a super logical individual, to be like, something happened and I had already premeditated like a data set of possible things that could happen. And I'm like, okay, yes, it's number 37. That's what happened. And like immediately. And so I didn't really have an intuition about it because I already had some logic that I was trying to apply to it. And I really feel like the meditation we're shutting down that logical mind, or at least that's the goal of many meditations, or focus it at least. And it creates that space for us. Do you think there's other ways to open up that space to hear the intuition speak besides meditation?
So
Well,
I like.
I can
Oh,
actually,
go
so I
ahead.
can share my experience on that just based on what you guys are saying, because it seems to me a lot of my connection to my heart has actually come through my own articulation. Like a lot of audio journals and stuff that I do just with myself, to myself, by myself, listening back, or just even allowing myself to speak what I'm feeling, what I'm processing. So I'm giving words to my emotions or to my feelings, and being able to decipher through using, I guess, the logic, but fully being present with my emotions and being able to process through has really helped me to, I mean, I've got thousands of hours of things where they just turn into these profoundly deep, beautiful, healing, weeping, sobbing, or angry, or all sorts of weird things. But I'm actually getting a chance to really connect with and process my heart in that way, in addition to meditation and stuff too. But that has been a consistent way that has seemed to be repetitively and consistently effective for me connecting to myself also.
I love how you just circled that back to the throat chakra and that channel. That's so important. Yes, like writing down or even speaking it is just it's just like removes that block here. It's like, oh, here's a wall, here's the block. Okay, it's gone because now the stream comes effortlessly.
Yeah. It's definitely very freeing to articulate. Like it's incredibly satiating, like at a heart soul level, to find a framework to allow the emotions to flow through. It's almost like finding a framework creates a connection that connects all the pipes so the water can just flow through. And it's not purely emotion or logical, but even an internal right-brained or feeling state framework, that allows that to flow through.
Aaron, do you feel that connecting your pipes with any plant medicines will help you get this connection?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love additional facets of perception. They're incredible. And being able to articulate. I mean, well, we've had a few conversations after hours, that being able to actually articulate while I mean, there's plenty of times where I say nothing and have my own experiences, for sure. But again, a lot of times being able to articulate in the moment or in the context is incredibly therapeutic for myself, let alone potentially for other people or in some dynamic, with other people, but very much so.
So Claudia, what do you use to kind of, besides meditation, to kind of slow down the mind and give the space for the intuition or the conversation with the heart to transpire?
Definitely the breathing that you said, because when I'm breathing, my mind slows down automatically, right? Because the mind and the body are always talking, so it helps me to slow down my mind, and just pay attention to my emotions. When something like really excites me, I feel an instant boost in my energy. Like you just feel it through all your cells, and everyone has felt this. It's like the flow state when you're sort of just. You're doing something and you're like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 minutes and 5 hours have passed. Something where you can just get completely lost into in a really healthy and just like unleash your creativity that way. So for me, it's definitely been paying close attention to my emotions. When I was in corporate, literally my emotions were like, holy shit, we're gonna kill you. Like we're gonna give you insomnia, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. And so I was like, okay, this is not it. This is not for me. So it's definitely paying close attention to the emotions and creating that space to feel that emotion, whether it's through the breath, through meditation, through journaling, self-reflection, like going on walks and just like talking to yourself is just so life-changing. Or going on drives. I love going on drives and just like blasting music, and then, you know, just exploring this infinite universe you have in between your eyes.
There's a quote out there. It's usually attributed to Osho. Is if you really love a person, give them infinite space. And it's saying that really like the true nature of love is to provide space for something to be itself. And really, I think that translates inside of ourselves to allowing ourselves to have an experience. And before we have some kind of thought or we establish ourselves in a position or identity with it, we provide that space to find out how we really do feel about it, not just how we think about it.
Mm.
So is there a way inside of our thoughts that you feel like once we have gotten to the thoughts that we can kind of kick it back to checking in with the heart? That, I mean, of course we can do the meditation, do the breath, see what we are in the moment. Do you feel like there's a way to kind of like look back to a moment if maybe someone's feeling like they did the wrong thing in a situation, for instance, and they want to look back to 2 days ago when they said this thing, and they want to look into it and go like, well, what would my heart have done in that situation? Do you have any tools that you use to kind of look back into your memory and see what you would have done in a specific time?
Well, one of those things also is like not ruminating on the past, you know, which is something I used to have a big issue with. Like I would always just focus on my mistakes. I would always just be like, holy crap, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But now it's more of like, okay, it's looking at it from a detached point of view, you know, like not being emotionally involved, but just being an observer. And so just like observing it, and it's like, okay, well, why did I react that way? You know, why did I choose to say this, or why did I choose to do this? And then just say, was that disempowering me or was it empowering me? And just take the lesson from it. Everything's a lesson. All your mistakes are lessons too. You know, even if you hurt people, that's a lesson for you. It's a lesson in forgiveness, and also it's a trigger for you. So if you're getting triggered, it's for a reason, and it's a tool for you to do your inner work and your healing.
Yeah, I feel like when we look into the past and we are able to like garner a lesson from it or reframe it, we're really kind of alchemically transmuting that from some type of trauma or pain to like a new building block that provides an easier time for us to get to a higher level of ourselves, or however you want to look at that.
Yeah, because everything happens for a reason, right? There's no accident ever. No accident ever.
Yeah. It's easy to, if you're taking like a victim mindset, which I don't personally agree with, but if you are taking that mindset to feel that very much so like that life is happening to you and that there are things that are like accidents or horrible circumstances or whatever. But I think with like what you're talking about with the questioning of things in the past, if we really question our reality and choose based off of empowerment, like what is most empowering to us, we find that even if you could blame it on something else, it's not actually the most effective thing for you to blame it on somebody else, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Yeah. Because you're giving your power away as well.
Sure. Is there a way that you kind of sculpt your verbiage to be more empowering to yourself rather than disempowering in common situations or situations you found before where like your reactions were disempowering? Maybe you could just give an example of some place in your life where you were doing something that you looked back on, you were like, okay, that was disempowering, and this empowering way that I could go about it is this. Could you like run us through a mock situation of you doing that in your own life?
Yeah, so on social media, right? Something that's applicable to everybody. No, you're not going to make everyone happy. Some people are going to, you know, not agree with you or just say something that's hurtful to you. And so whenever I see people saying something hurtful, I'm just like, why am I triggered by this? You know, why like I go through a process of self-inquiry. So I'm just like, why am I feeling this way? Well, and then from that I go, well, why is that happening? You know, and you just go back to the why, and then you figure out like what was the main source of the trigger, and then you transmute that. You do your healing with that. And when you do that, you take back your power, because when, let's say someone's like, oh, you're an idiot, that's not true. Well, if I choose to, I'm like, oh crap, am I really an idiot? then I let that person define me, and then I give that person my power when they define me instead of me defining myself. So it's definitely like self-inquiry for sure.
Definitely. Do you feel that there's like a positive format of self-inquiry and other negative formats? Are there types of self-inquiry or ways of doing it that you would recommend to stay away from?
Stupid. You know, why did I do that? Sort of like from a blaming point of view. You know, and I think that's something that helps with that is just taking breaths and detaching emotionally from that situation, becoming an observer. But Byron Katie has an amazing resource for this. She has this self-inquiry process. You guys can find it on her website. It's Byron Katie. And she goes through like the process for how to unpack why you're feeling triggered. So it's really, really, really awesome. So
is her website thework.com?
I think so.
Is that the one? Are you talking about the exercise that's on there that's I complain about?
Is it like the one worksheet where you have to like fill it in?
Yeah, it looks like a worksheet. It just says like I complain about something because that's really all that it is, the worksheet in this one. I'm just going to go ahead and link the website, and you guys can check it out. It's probably somewhere on there. There's probably all types of wonderful stuff on there. So
definitely
you'll find even more than we talked about. Okay, so is there a way that you basically, do you feel that all of this is alchemy? Is that function, these are formats of alchemy basically?
Yeah, I mean, when you're transmuting anything, that's alchemy. Alchemy is just transforming not just elements, you're transforming energy. And what are words? Words are energy, emotions are energy, thoughts are energy. So
Sure.
Yeah, it is alchemy. We're all alchemists, even if we're aware of it or not.
It's impossible to not be an alchemist. I told you you would all join us.
It's the cult, the only way.
I've been trying to tell people about this for years. So, let's see, with these kinds of processes, the meditation, the breath work, finding our purpose more, what do you think are the benefits that people generally see in their life of doing this at like an advanced level? For instance, like inside of my own life, I've unlocked a lot of like random operations or things in my life. Like I have these hypnagogic states where I like have really, really, really clear thought. Once I stopped being super logical all the time during the day, they've gotten more and more and more. Have you noticed any increase in psychic abilities or in the abilities of the, as Aaron would often call it, the DNA skin suit as a byproduct of getting better at meditation, breathing, becoming more aligned with the purpose as a byproduct of these?
Yeah, well, you sort of get rid of all the crap, all the data that's constantly coming in. There's so much noise all around. Like, how many times does your phone like beep? I think Americans pick up their phone 85 times in every single hour or something like that. Some crazy number.
I'm not
like
even
that.
sure I put my phone down 85 times in a day. I'm kind of on it all the time.
Yeah, right. It's like an umbilical cord. So it's, you know, this is all noise. This is all noise. I mean, some of it is helpful, yes, but it's all noise at the end of the day. So when you just put stuff down and you just take time to sit with yourself, when you take time to do that breath work, that self-inquiry, that reflection in writing or speaking journal that Aaron was talking about, all of that is going to create space for you to connect, to open up your Wi-Fi, like your Wi-Fi to the universal consciousness Wi-Fi. And then this is like the best Google you can ever access because it's designed specifically for you. So everything that you're looking for, it's not in your phone, it's not in me, it's not in Zach, it's not in Aaron, it's inside of your own spiritual Google that you can always access. And the more that you're doing these practices, the easier and faster you accessing that information is going to come. And I like to think about that as synchronicities. Like, how many synchronicities do you see once you start following your heart? Once you start my journey, how I quit my corporate job and like jumped into the spiritual world, was by a synchronicity. Like it was the wildest thing ever. Like the statistical probability of something like that happening was like impossible. And so I was like, okay, the universe is clearly talking to me, so I can't like deny it. So all right, let's just do it. And so it was just jumping into that uncertainty, and then more stuff just kept falling into my path. And again, with you, when you jump into that uncertainty, which is scary, but when you surrender and you just wonder, you open up yourself to wonder, I wonder what will happen, what I'll find, then you'll see more angel numbers, more people who are going to help you will start coming in your path. You're going to start automatically getting books that are meant for you, articles that are meant for you, people that are meant for you, skills that are going to start blossoming out of nowhere. The synchronicities keep coming, and it's like the universe gives you breadcrumbs, and you just keep following the breadcrumbs. And how much more enjoyable is life that way? And these breadcrumbs are not going to lead you to a trap. They're going to lead you to you opening up the true potential that you have inside. And what you're meant to do here is like shine your light for yourself and for the world.
Yeah, if you're not already experiencing tons of those synchronicities and you're watching this, I definitely, one man's humble opinion is that that's kind of like the entire reason to be alive. Like, I love those little moments where I'm like, how did this possibly all come together? Like, it's undeniably impossible that was random, although it seems entirely random. Like, that might be the coolest thing that happens in life. So increasing those has really, for me, allowed me to stay in a more joyful or blissful place as that happens with more frequency. Or maybe, I mean, like, I'm actually kind of at a point where I'm like, everything's actually synchronicity. It's more like my job to find it. So I'm like looking for it all over the place. And I'm always trying to be aware of how things are interworking with other things. P.S. This might just be a way that I consume my logic, so I don't use it against myself. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I really do like it. And I feel like the more aware that I become of the possibilities of that, the more I do see that in my life, and the more little like exciting moments that I get that are like, ooh, it's neat. You feel like a kid again for a moment, because it's just like it's that wonderment style excitement where you're seeing something that almost feels like it's for the first time every time. And that's really like what, at least for me, what I kind of lost from being a child was that like I don't have a lot of anywhere near as much wonderment in the world, and that like ways of finding that wonderment have been super beneficial to me feeling more joy and bliss, which I feel like this is a good question that I would like to ask. Like, when you are living in a blissful space, do you feel it's easier to align with and or find your purpose than when you're not living in a blissful like space?
100%. And so Jasmine and Munchies with Mellow are like synchronicities brought me here. So that is so awesome. And again, right, the more that you start to pay attention to the synchronicities, the more your life starts to unfold for you in the most graceful and easy and joyful way possible. It's your choice if you want to make your heart if you want to make your life difficult or easy. That's all your choice. And so when you're talking about, is it easier to find more synchronicities when you're finding your life purpose? Yes, because it's like your spirit guides, the universe, your higher self is literally dropping breadcrumbs in the path that they want you to go on. And then again, like I said earlier, if you're not going down your soul's path, then you're going to have a car accident, you're going to have a horrible health situation, a horrible breakup, divorce, whatever it is, like, because you have to go, something dramatic has to happen for you to go back to your path. And there's so many people who awaken because they had horrible accidents and the angel came to save them and they were safe and blah, blah, blah. And that's how they awakened, and that's what's happening with our world right now. This whole ascension process, this whole quarantine, all of this like global war, like on humanity that people are waking up to. Like all of the virus situation, what's happening, the galactic wars, all of this is happening to wake humanity up quickly because we don't have much time. Like there's timelines right now, and there's several different timelines, and the faster that we wake up, the more likelihood that we can avoid wars and other harmful stuff for the rest of humanity. You know,
Going
so
back,
again,
going back real quick before we get into the timelines thing, which I think is very interesting. You said it. So, your life can be easy or difficult. What do you say to I'm playing devil's advocate for a second. What do you say to the naysayer that says, like, no, that's not true. There's certain things, you just have an easy life. My life actually has difficult stuff in it. And, like we could be specific if we want, but my life actually has difficult stuff, and that's stuff that I have to take care of. And it's not my choice whether it's easy or difficult. What do you say to that naysayer?
So they made a soul contract. I mean, it's hard to say that. Like, it's really hard to say that when we look at so for me, it's really difficult because I grew up in a third world country. Like, and so seeing all the poverty around me, like, I was always aware of that. And then,
So in a certain way, you just say, "Shut up! I grew up in a third world country. Don't give me that. You're from America."
yes,
Which is fair. Which is fair.
But it's no. But I'm saying, like, one difficult thing for me and for all of us as empaths, it's like, oh my gosh, you feel the pain of, like, the people starving, around the world, or you feel the pain of the people who are grieving right now because their loved ones have passed away due to the virus. So, but at the same time, they sort of chose those roles. Just like the angel chose to be an angel and the demon chose to be a demon, they both have a role to play here. This is just a play. We're just here as, some people like to call it a simulation, and some people like to call it the Matrix. And so you came here to play a role. And if something difficult happened in your life, it's because you have a very strong soul. You chose, like, your soul is learning through all these hardships. So if your fiance, like, cheated on you, then it's likely that your soul came to this reincarnation. One of the soul lessons is about forgiveness. So all of these things which seem horrible are actually there to help us expand in the heart space, expand in the spirit, expand in the soul. So, I mean, it's really, really difficult to say that and to have someone understand that. But yeah.
You brought up angels and demons and roles. And Jasmine says, for me, what literally woke me was my relationship. We weren't connecting and we had a fall through, and he strayed for a moment. When that happened, my intuition just went crazy and turned on. What role do you think that relationships play in this unfolding of our purpose? And where do the angels and the demons lie?
So are you talking about, like, relationships in general, like interpersonal relationships?
Well, in her case, it seems like it was, well, I read from this a romantic relationship, but she never said that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah. So I actually just connected with a friend, talk about synchronicity, 2 months ago, and she was going through a suicidal period of her time because she was with a partner who just was not valuing her, and she didn't know how to leave that relationship. And so, like, she had to go through those suicidal thoughts for her to be like, oh, I love myself so much and I don't need you to, exist. And so,
well, if we don't need them, what do you think we want from them when we get in relationships? Not on a level of, low level, like whatever, you want sex, or you get in a business relationship because you want money, but on a soul level, what do we want on, kind of a functional level from other people? Why do we get in relationships with them?
Well, we're social beings, right? Like, without connection, like, we will die. Like, we will literally die. And this is true for animals too, like monkeys, snakes, whatever you have. Like, if they're not with their mothers, like, they will literally die. If you don't have your mother's love, you will literally die. Like, in terms of your cells, and your body will it will create autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. So I think we're looking for others for the love, and not realizing that love is inside of us. And when we find that love inside of us and fill ourselves up with our love, then we're able to truly love. I don't think you can love someone until you completely love yourself, like, unconditionally. That's the way, at least, I perceive it.
Yeah, I've always kind of said that our self-love sets the limit for our ability to love another person. So,
Totally.
So do you think maybe, we kind of create these people into our life to show us how we want to be loved but aren't feeling loved, and how we want to be able to love but aren't currently capable to love, and it's really just a learning experience?
Yeah, definitely. It's a learning experience. We've also made karmic contracts with people, like in this lifetime, in the past. So we may have made karmic contracts with them, but yes, everything is a lesson for us. And at the end of the day, everything is a lesson in love. If you look deep, 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 deep down into it, and even talking, how you were asking me about angels and demons and where did they lie? Well, like I said, like the angel is going to try to give you all the amazing signs, all the love, very like try to help you in a very gentle and loving way. And then the demon's going to still try to help you. They're like tag teaming, they're like tag teaming. A lot of people think like angels and demons are fighting, but they're actually tag teaming. And so
Like symbiotes.
it's like in wrestling, when they like tap them and they're like, all right, your turn. And so when we're not paying attention, then the demon comes in and sort of gets us sick or gets us into an accident, because we weren't on the path. So it's not that they're doing it out of like, hey, I'm going to destroy you, human. No, they're like, okay, let's get this human back
Sure.
on track.
It's just teaching through a different format. Yeah.
Exactly.
We could understand, like, I shoot a basketball, it doesn't go in the hoop. That's a demon. I shoot a basketball, it goes in the hoop. That's an angel. With the shooting the basketball goes in a hoop, I know exactly what I should do again. And with the shooting the ball and it does not go in the hoop, I know what I should not do again. So they're really both teaching us about shooting the basketball, but just through the, the anode and the cathode version of it, if you've been paying attention to the podcast and the work of Walter Russell.
Or the Tiamat and the Abzu version of it, if you've been paying attention to everything else.
Fair.
You guys like write books in your podcast. I think you could just transcribe this into like a book or a comic book or something.
I agree.
Maybe this is
Claudia,
the new format
actually.
of comic book. You just podcast your entire life. It's 24-hour a day reality TV where you just share literally every thought you have as best as you can. And then that's the book.
I tell you what, though, like on that note, though, legitimately, I've thought about that. At some point, I'm going to transcribe out all my audio journals because I know there's alchemical codes in there for my life. I already know what they are. I need to keyword search certain things, keyword search certain things. There's a lot of stuff in there. And for sure, the same thing with our podcast or all your stuff, Claudia. Really, I mean, for every human being, if you think about it, because every expression is part of the equation of you. And every expression is unique to the audience you're engaging with, to the energy of that day, to the astrology, to how you're feeling internally, to how much trauma you've dealt with, how integrated you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you see like breadcrumbs throughout your life of you planting these beautiful strings of beautiful shit throughout your life and through your expressions. And what a cool age and day we can be in, that's actually a real plausible reality, that we can have that stuff transcribed out and really decode it ourselves. It's pretty cool.
Every person's experience finds itself in a book on the shelves of the Akasha.
True. Which focus level is that?
I don't know. I give it like a 30 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's really funny that you're talking about that, because I was just listening to this Gaia TV. And by the way, guys, you should definitely buy a Gaia TV subscription. It was the best investment I've made during this quarantine. It's super affordable and it's just like infinite wisdom. There's so many different things that will just help you to grow.
Or you could just check out the playlists on this channel, and if you can get through those in the quarantine, I will be very surprised because there is a lot of them.
Yeah, well, there's this too, but talking about the Akasha, and so like everything that you've ever said or felt or thought or did in any lifetime is written in a book, and that book exists in your spiritual Google, and that's available to you, and like what Jasmine is saying, that she had visions before it was revealed to her, like physically, so again, like when you start to sort of connect with your intuition and your psychic abilities, amazing truths will come to you and will help you to make better decisions so that you can continue following the highest path for your highest good. So that's so so
You've
key.
spoken about karmic ties and soul contracts and additional timelines. What do you think the implications of these are in like kind of a brief statement? And what are some of the things that you do to break those contracts or rewrite those contracts? And beyond that, also, what do you think we need to do in our real life to uphold that we have actually rewritten that contract?
So when we were talking about different dimensions and timelines, so we've come to this place in humanity where we're literally in this. I don't have a word to describe it, but we're just in this really weird space right now where it's not only that the Earth is ascending, but all of the dimensions are shifting right now, and karma is actually, someone said that karma is not actually a player anymore in our reality. So we have we can choose to play with karma if we want to or not. So that's a personal choice that you can do. Also, like, what do we do practically? I mean, just set an intention that you're a sovereign being and that you release all karmic vows and contracts that no longer serve your highest good. Just do a little ritual for yourself. I have a bunch of those on my YouTube channel. It's the same thing. It's Golden Age Alchemy, and you just do this ritual, but you have to do it with full conviction that you are the powerful creator, and you have the ability to delete that from your Akashic record.
I feel like after that too, though, we are going to get tested on our conviction with real life activities usually, and we need to have the discipline to carry those out as well, right?
Well, really trust that you let that go too, because everything is a test, kind of. I mean, I don't want to put it in that frame because then it's not fun. No one wants to get tested.
Willow said she'd like to hear you and one of our other show's hosts have a conversation about contract revocation. If you'd be interested in doing that, we'd love to have you as a guest on that show as well. Angela's a very wonderful individual, and her show is normally during the day, 1 p.m. on Mondays. So
wow,
it'd be cool to
there's
get you on for that.
so many shows. I love this.
Yeah, we have, let's see, our show, Jen's show, Angela's show. There's going to be another show soon from a community member named Kala, another one from a community member named Charlene, and another one from a community member named Holly. And I might start doing some kind of like teaching show. And then also I'm going to start running meditations 7 days a week that just like go for like a 30-minute live stream, and then yoga as well.
And
So
we've got
schedule's back up.
Aaron's ailment alignment hour or something?
Aaron can have an hour or two where he has a book that this book is really good at kind of connecting the psyche and the body. And so, like, with people can basically ask about whatever problems that they're having, and then he'll read from in the book and kind of riff on it for a little while. Super easy to fill an hour with that,
Totally.
honestly. So,
It's super
yeah,
fun.
we're actually trying. I mean, like, if you would like to have a show on a YouTube channel, we would love to have you over here, because we're definitely trying to turn this into more like a network that's honestly running 24 hours a day is kind of the goal in the long run. So give people a place to come home to all the time. So that you don't ever have to hear that you're weird anymore, because we're just as weird or weird.
And speaking of weird, I think I'm gonna work on getting an actual outfit for that show. I think I'll get like a cardigan, some glasses. I'll figure out some kind of outfit to really, really get into it, man. That'll be super
Mr.
fun.
Rogers style.
Yeah.
Be good. We should get you a little train
I'm
that you can
excited
have go
for
around
that.
behind you like the trolley.
We totally should. We can do it in. We can chroma key it in like green screen or some shit. That'd be awesome.
Aaron's ailment alignment. Yeah, that's a good one. I've already been helped out by that show personally, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's good stuff in there,
That's a
man.
good start. It's a good start.
That's awesome.
So,
See how you
Are
guys
you down in LA
inspiring other
area,
people?
Claudia?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
well,
in Santa Monica.
we're gonna have quite a few people over here from the community, including Aaron, myself,
I'll be there in 15 hours.
Kala,
In 2 minutes.
Jen lives here as well. And like over the next week, we're all going to be kind of over here hanging out and stuff. If you would like to come over some night, we should talk about that. It'd be really cool to get you over here and meet in person and such.
Yeah, definitely. I would love that.
Cool.
And we also
Well-
still have to plan our Arizona field trip to Sedona.
Still want to go to Sedona
Me
as
too.
well.
I've never been. Super want to go. Yep.
Yes.
Uh,
So
how-
everyone, we gotta manifest that together.
If there's
Do it
live
from the
content
vortex.
24 hours a day, how do you ever catch up? You don't catch up.
You don't.
You tune in when it's
Yep.
time for you to tune in, and then the message is tuned in to you as well.
Hmm.
Dun dun dun, synchronicity.
And then you hop around. So then, like, you hop around for a couple, season of your life. There's several shows that you're really into or people you follow, and then it switches and changes, and that's just how it goes, man. We're always changing and growing and getting fed from different
Yeah.
places. And
The real
beautiful.
question is, if there's live content 24 hours a day, how the hell do I ever catch up?
yeah, no doubt, man.
Because I got to do like an hour of work outside of the show for every show. So how do I ever catch up? No one knows.
Mhm.
It's okay. I'm a time lord. Time does not exist to me. I just
Yeah.
rewind and do things again. So
100%.
Where are you, Willow? If you're not in the U.S., I'm curious.
Arizona is a lot closer to Jasmine than LA. Well,
Cool.
then you can come to Sedona with us. Soon is when that's happening. I have no idea how long soon is, but it's soon for sure.
I don't know. This
Very
summer, let's say this summer.
Yeah.
That's soon. Make it
So-
happen.
Also, we should go to Mount Shasta because that's
Yes, that one
where
too.
that's a
Our house
that's a
is
that's
right
a,
on the Shasta ley
chakra.
line.
Is it really?
It sure is. It runs right next to us. Literally right next to
Wow,
us.
that's wild.
I like the
So
Shasta
Willow's-
ley line. It's one
We're
of my
listening on
favorites.
Ottawa, Canada, and I'll be flying into Ontario, California, which I didn't even know there was an Ontario until I found it.
Turns out there is.
Turns out there is.
Good evening, Tiffany. Good to see you.
Hmm.
So on the topic of purpose, how do you feel like, doing random things with your life and, like planning field trips with internet communities and, meeting up with people on the internet, things like that, just doing things that are kind of outside your box. How do you think that helps us find it? I mean, we touched on it earlier that we should try weird things, but what do you think the mechanic really is there that helps us?
Like, what helps us about doing weird stuff?
Yeah, why does trying new things help us find our purpose? Why isn't our purpose just the thing that we're entirely dialed in on and focused on from the beginning?
So this is the thing about like flexibility and wonder, right? I wonder what will happen if we all go to Mount Shasta and we create a crystal grid, and then we sort of wake up the dragon that's dragon is awakened anyways, but dragons protect
Yeah.
ley lines. so it's all about just like, I wonder what will happen if, and like definitely having no expectations, because whenever you have expectations, you're always going to end up, not being
Your
satisfied.
expectations will never exceed your imagination. However, the universe might.
Exactly.
True.
So it's just like going in and it's like, okay, I'm open to whatever's going to happen. And then the universe gives you way more than you can ever like imagine what you just said.
Yeah.
So
A lot of
I
it's-
go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of it too, discerning, I think, when you know you're supposed to do something, well, whatever that's supposed to mean, supposed to do. When it feels in alignment, you decide you're going to do it, you're putting things towards it. And then there's things that your subconscious or your unconscious or the different programs that are running will try to self-sabotage and get things to not happen, being sick the day of, or, your foot breaks or something, it's a couple days before, or just like crazy shit. And some of it can get you to stop going, but other
Was that-
times,
you firing shots at me for breaking my foot?
I'm not firing shots, bro. It is what it is.
You
Hey, I
broke
still
your
got 'em.
foot?
Oh, it was weeks ago now. I fixed my foot, well, sort of. Also, I have some nerve issues still, but nevertheless, yeah, I did break my foot. I thought that's why I was bringing up breaking feet.
And no, it just came to me in the moment, but then I realized the connection. But
Oh, I see,
knowing
I see. We've gotten entangled enough now that he just accidentally makes fun of me.
it's true.
Perfect.
Speaking of which, side note, so like on the whole connection, coherence, telepathy thing between Zach and I, and just doing the show every night, little like cool stuff happens. Like today at work, I had to go back, and I got to this count, and I was exhausted for like out of nowhere, and so I just leaned over, took a nap in my van, but like. During that time, Zach was also meditating, and I remember, which I didn't know until later, but then I remember during that time, that was very, very, very much so. I was in a very rested, deeper sleep space, but I was also very aware. Like there's no imagery; it was all audible inside of my own space. And I remember me, Zach, and Jen having conversations about a lot of stuff, maybe show stuff or just other things, like conversations that mattered, that were important, that were, things we just don't have time for in 3D. I think. And it was like, and I woke up 25 minutes later, really refreshed and rested, and then remembering bits and pieces of the conversation, be like, okay, good. Yeah, that's taken care of. Good. Like
The
moving
power
on,
of
you know?
quantum entanglement and the Monroe Institute technologies. If you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me. We teach this stuff. You want to talk to people with your head, we can do that. So, and a lot of other things. It's all about focus and making sure that you're not sabotaging yourself
Okay.
almost entirely.
So, speaking of which, I was going to say, so there's many times, right, that when I set things in alignment and order and anchor things in, or like this trip or things that come up, there's things I know, or I'm aware that there might be things that come up to try to self-sabotage in my own life and in energy fields around me, or different things I'm entangled with, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when I see something come up, it's very rare that I just submit to the thing that came up that's going to hinder me from my purpose. Nothing will hinder me. It's in the vortex, it's there, it's happening. Now, if something like aligned things come up and it just changes, then that's fine. I go with the change. But I don't allow distractions or these things like, oh, well, maybe it's not supposed to happen. Like it's pretty rare. Like if it's not supposed to happen, I kind of am aware it's not supposed to happen, or it just goes that way and I recalibrate, realign, it's fine. But in general, when I know, I'm also aware of the things that may come up to try to self-sabotage. So I know when to go anyway, even if I feel like shit, because oftentimes by the times I get there, I feel amazing. But if I didn't go because I felt like shit or something happened, then you miss out on the thing you had. So being able to discern between those things too is uber important.
It really is. Discernment is so important, and only you have access to that, right? And that's why it's so important for you to be centered.
And also, like Zach brought up earlier too, and knowing, because other people, you don't necessarily need other people to interpret things for you. You're like, oh, well, that means you're not supposed to go. It's like, well, no, not necessarily, but like, it's okay to get additional insight, but you got to know what resonates with you. Is that what it means for you? Don't let other people dictate what the signs in your life mean for you.
Definitely.
Hey, Claudia, check the private chat real quick. So, for anybody watching that just tuned in, this is Claudia from Golden Age Alchemy, at Golden Age Alchemy on Instagram. She is a teacher, guide, alchemist extraordinaire. You see her website on here and you can read a bit of her mission, or you could find her on IG. She's doing things all the time to allow you to get to know her better and get to know yourself. And we're very happy to have her here. Again, Claudia, thank you for being here. We really do appreciate you here. Claudia is helping us understand purpose and other wonderful things like that. So what else do you think needs to be covered with purpose besides what we've already covered? Have we left out any pieces that are pertinent? Is there anything we've overlooked?
Well, we were talking about like doing random stuff, and like do that random stuff because it's calling you for a reason. It's there for a reason. Right now it doesn't make sense, but 5 months through 2 years from now, it's going to make sense. So I like
you heard it here, 5 months and 2 years exactly after you do the random stuff. If it's not true, message her on Instagram and be like, I was waiting for this.
Set your calendar date. That's what the Mayans did.
Yeah.
And so
it's like Aaron, when I tell him anything about his astrology, he's like, hang on, what date? Okay, I'll set a timer on my phone.
I do. Look. You see?
Can you see
I love that.
Yep. There's one of them.
That says coherence, fun, and
ring
awesomeness. 14 hours and 53 minutes. When I'll be there.
That's awesome.
And it's when the new moon conjuncts with Pleiades, and simultaneously the sun moves from Aaron's sun sign to Zach's sun sign.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's
we did
awesome.
not. We planned this 2 days before we scheduled it, so that was actually completely on accident. But apparently those probably don't happen. So, do accidents happen? You said earlier nothing was coincidental, but really nothing?
Nothing. Because everything is so perfect. Like when you even look at sacred geometry, right? Like the Sri Yantra, when you look at the flower of life, that is you. That is also the stars. That's also like everywhere in the founding like blocks of plants and animals and everything else. So nothing is an accident. Everything serves a divine purpose. And once you start looking at to me, but it's like happening for me, and start shifting your mindset, then you're going to start finding more of those synchronicities, more of that clarity, more of those signs. And I'm just curious if people like who are in the chat, like, do you guys see angel numbers? Do you guys see any particular sort of repeating number? Because that's also the more that you're in alignment, the more that you'll see that stuff. So I mean, it's not everybody that gets to see angel numbers. And it's truly like just so magical. Like people who have no idea what angel numbers are, it starts happening to them, you know? And so how can you explain that? But talking about like connecting the dots, right? So I really like this example by what's his name, Steve Jobs. He said that in his commencement speech about how he took this calligraphy class, and that's how he developed the keyboard for a Mac. And so back then he was like, oh, what the heck, let me just take this calligraphy class. And then it didn't make sense until he actually like started his business. So like I think, Zach, you said that you are a gamer and that set you up to create this platform. You know, you didn't think about like going into gaming with that purpose. It sort of just unfolded. So again, just listen to your heart and see what comes out of it. Because that's like, you're going to fit all the puzzle to your life purpose and to your life, and it's going to be so rewarding, so fulfilling. Like it's like you're writing your own movie script, and like you're going to watch the movie, and it's going to, you know, it's just there's no words to describe it. Like you said, it's like that joyful thing about being a kid, and you see the synchronicity, and it's new and it's new and it's new.
Okay,
you were talking about the angel numbers, and you were talking about reality happening for us, not to us. And I forgot to do the word of the day today. The word of the day is pronoia. That is the belief that the universe is conspiring in your favor. It's actually just the opposite of paranoia. But instead of being paranoid, perhaps one day try being pronoid. You know, believe that things are actually going to work out for you and see just what happens. Don't take our word for it, although I know the people above me and below me both believe that if you believe this is how things are really happening. But just try it out for yourself. Just try going through a day really testing yourself to believe that everything is going to work out for you, and I think you will find that it is quite the difference. That's the word of the day, pronoia. Sorry to interject that, but
is that
it was
a
just
real
too perfect
word?
of timing. It's real enough. It's borrowed from the Greek. The Greek pronoia really actually means foresight, but in kind of modern day colloquialism, we use it to mean the opposite of paranoia. So, yeah.
I love that.
Instead of always looking over your shoulder, you're looking forward. You know what I mean?
So on angel numbers and synchronicity, so I certainly agree with like there's the whole dynamic of the childlike wonder and the joy and the dynamic of all that, and the unexplainableness of it. At the same time, I thoroughly enjoy trying to explain it. So because I get a lot of joy and wonder out of that also. So being able to think about it, so seeing synchronicities or different numbers. I mean, because I've been seeing them in different ways, in different seasons, different numbers, different times for many, many years. And to me, it's an awareness of my own internal alignment, because it's me perceiving. I happen to look at the clock at that moment. I happen to notice the license plate in front of me. I could just as easily have not noticed the license plate in front of me. But because of these awarenesses throughout the day or over time, they create coincidences with meaning, which is synchronicity, according to Carl Jung. And then those synchronicities with meaning start to build a non-linear timeline of events forward and backward through time. You can puzzle piece things together to have bigger overlapping conceptual meanings of understanding with those numbers in your life specifically. Now that's internal, but it also seems just as plausible to me that externally your environment could be manipulated also. You could have other entities or other things or actual in real life, depending on the circumstances, real people manipulating your life, the things you see, the things that your awareness is brought to, and you don't realize that's happening outside of you, which is what happens with marketing and TV and pharmaceutical commercials. I mean, just like all that shit. And so being able to be aware of what synchronicities in our lives are actually from outside of us and leading us somewhere we don't necessarily want to go or care to go, versus the synchronicities that are being brought to our awareness from our actual selves.
So that's interesting, because there's actually a different definition for synchronicity than the one you pulled up.
Well, I'm always going to go with this one because it came from Carl Jung, and he's my favorite.
I really like that one. But what's the one you know, Claudia?
So it's more of like the mathematical one, where the statistical probability of something happening is too high to be due to chance. And that's it. it came from a documentary. It's called the Miracle Planet or the Privileged Planet, and you guys can watch that documentary. But it talks about like the statistical probability of the Earth literally being this distance away from the sun and being tilted in this specific way. Like everything, all the conditions for Earth to be Earth was 1 in 3 trillion, which is too high to be due to chance. So that's why it's called the Miracle Planet.
Yeah, and I think that's true for a lot of things. I mean, just the astrology alone and the clockwork design of, the physics in the universe. Obviously, I know I created much of this universe by my own two hands, if you will. So, like, there is design that goes in everything, for sure.
I think both of those things are definitely true. I mean, all Jung really said is that they were, meaningful coincidences are something that you could say is synchronistic. But then also at the same time, like those meaningful coincidences, the likelihood of them being random is not good. If you ran probability on that, though, oftentimes, like, what's the likelihood that I would have met this person at that time when that was the only time we ever went to that place ever in our life? It's like 1 in 3 trillion. So they really are kind of the same thing. I mean, obviously, in his look of it, he's an analytical psychologist, as it says there. He's entirely worried about how they're affecting our mind. And so they when they hold me, we have tons of synchronicities that happen in our life, probably all the time, that are not meaningful to us or relevant in any way. So we just really don't notice them. And we just, maybe they're just a coincidence, not one that's meaningful. So we're not like, oh, that's so synchronistic. I think in a certain way we talk about the angel numbers. I give a unpopular opinion here. I think a lot of people feel they are experiencing synchronicity with angel numbers, but when they don't have any idea what those numbers mean or anything, so those numbers don't really have relevance other than saying the numbers are the same, right? And is that really synchronistic? I mean, like I've had times in, like, so for instance, in my own personal mind, 1111 is functionally the number of pairing. You have two pairs of two things, right? Two ones, and then so we see the pairing through this. If you were to take those and twist them properly, you can get all kinds of interesting things that are comparative planes, X and Y. You can get the chromosomes off of that if you want, all kinds of things like that. But 1111 points us towards that kind of pairing. And if we look at 1111 and we're just like basically doing the Pee Wee Herman word of the day thing, where like the couch yells because we saw 1111, that's not really giving us meaningful data out of that. But if we look at these kinds of numbers and we go, oh, okay, I see 1111, something is coming together. What is pairing right now? And that thing that's pairing, that is a prominent projection into our reality, is likely what the number is actually presenting itself for, to bring greater awareness to that function. And all numbers definitely have these functions that can be associated to them symbolically. So how do you feel about, do you think the numbers have a meaning besides just that you are in alignment? Or is perhaps their only value that they show you that you are in alignment? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, in my personal experience, they definitely each have their own meaning, because it's like it's numerology too. Numbers are words in a sense. They're a frequency, right? Each number is a frequency and a message there. So Munchies with Mellow, yes, I do think that each number has a specific meaning. So it depends on where you are in your life and what the angels are trying to tell you. Like they will show you they will show you 555 when you're trying to transform, when it's time for you to transform. They will show you 222 when you need to bring balance into your life. You need to communicate, you need to speak your truth, you need to cooperate and collaborate with others. There's this amazing website. It's called Sacred Scribes by the Joanne with angel numbers, and that one that's the one I use to find my angel number like definitions. And then also you can make your own definition, like talk to the angels, talk to your spirit guides, be like, hey, why are you always showing me 131? Like, what are you trying to show me with this? What's the message here? You can use that as a reference point, but then you can also talk to your own spirit guides in a way that you want to. But
do you think there's any number that isn't an angel number? Or are all numbers angel numbers, kind of waiting to be understood? Aaron, what do you think about that? Like, is 562 an angel number?
So I think ultimately, I mean, there are resonances with certain words and structure and geometry and sound and shape and form and uses of morphogenic fields over time, for sure. However, the most powerful meaning we can give a word is what the internal belief system you attach to that letter, to that number, to that word. So I really believe any of us can outcreate any kind of, even demonic sigil, if you will, or something that's super negative. If you really have an understanding or a meaning that you apply internally to that thing,
Please
you can
and-
override
Oh,
and and override and neutralize out the previous meanings before it. But that you have to understand your own balance in that, because it's easier to use things that are in harmony with your own intention or meaning of those things, as opposed to trying to override a meaning that's already been placed upon it over time.
Munchie said that 562 is the Long Beach area zip code, so
Definitely.
it's in the
Angels
city
on
of
the beach,
angels. So it's kind of an angel number, right? Right?
100%.
So sorry, my laptop just died, but I think it's
Oh.
also time for my bedtime because like I just keep yawning. But
Mm.
thank you guys so much for allowing me to join you. I love
Yeah,
talking
thanks
to
for
you guys. You
coming.
guys are hilarious. And
Oh, if you haven't seen it, we did Shakespeare. We did a scuffed version of Hamlet last night for like 2 hours. There were 5 of us on there reading the script. It was awesome.
wow, that's awesome. I definitely have to check that out. I have to go through all of them. I saw a few of them, and they're definitely like
Oh,
addicting.
cool. Right on.
Yeah,
We
but
love
I
you very
love what
much. We're
guys.
Do you have
incredibly
any
thankful for.
upcoming events or anything like that you would like to plug on the show?
So I'm hosting a spirit guides class this Saturday. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So you're going to be learning how to communicate and connect with your spirit guides and your higher self, because we don't have one spirit guide. We have a spirit team, right? Different guides come in during different times of our
Spiritual
life.
entourage.
Yeah, exactly. Your spiritual entourage,
What
basically.
color is your spiritual team's jerseys, Claudia?
Purple.
Purple jerseys, okay.
Purple jerseys, yeah. And they got the gold crowns, so they kind of look like the Lakers.
So Shaq comes stomping
maybe
in. Oh, yeah, Shaq
maybe
doesn't
that's
play
why I
anymore.
moved. Maybe that's why I moved to LA. They're like, all right, we got to come here.
Actually, if Shaq comes stomping in as your spirit guide, you know that your spirit guides are stuck in the 90s and early 2000s, and there's something going on there.
Yeah. Shaq being your spirit guide is basically a boga.
Yeah. Don't expect him to handle
All
you
right, so
gently.
the spirit guides class coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, and that is on your Instagram?
Yeah, so you
or-
guys can find that on the link in my Instagram. And so it's not just a class where you're going to learn how to talk to your spirit guides, but you're going to learn different strategies, like how to use oracle cards, how to use a random book. Like you'll just need a random book, and you can communicate with your higher self that way, or with your guides using pieces of paper, like something crazy like that. There's just so many different ways that you can communicate with your guides. If you're having trouble with that, also, you're going to learn how to open up your third eye, your crown, and your stellar gateway chakras. So I'm super excited about that, because not a lot of people know about the stellar gateway chakra, and that's the one that connects us to sort of like the whole galaxy. So it's going to be a lot of fun. People usually cry when they meet their spirit guides for the first time because it's so cathartic. It's like just so much
Bring
love.
Kleenex.
Yes, that's literally what I'm telling them to bring. Bring crystals, water, and tissues, because you will cry in a good way.
And let me plug here Claudia's class. I haven't done that one, but I did the one for astral projection, and she was with us for 4 hours, and she does incredibly well. She expresses things in a way that's very understandable. She definitely makes everyone there feel valued and welcomed, and no one's left behind, or not going too fast, or not going too slow. And the whole thing is really cool. You engage with other people. If this one's similar to the other one. And it's a really, really beautiful, worthwhile experience for sure. Claudia, you're an amazing human being, and I'm really grateful that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that we're here together, us Arcturians. Randomly, right? We randomly crossed paths. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be forever grateful for you for making me understand why I taped my fingers.
I know, isn't that awesome? That's so cool. I love that shit. We got to do like an Arcturians part 2. I think there'll be other shit that comes out there. We'll be like, really?
Yeah.
That too? Okay.
We really do, because like a lot of people have been saying like the spaceships have been disappearing, but they're actually just going into different dimensions because of like what's happening with like the militarization of space. So we should definitely have a part 2.
I actually
Awesome.
decided while we were doing this podcast earlier that I was going to do a Pleiadian starseed connection on Saturday because I don't have anything planned for Saturday. And on Friday, the new moon comes into direct alignment with the Pleiades, giving us a perfect time to connect. So make sure to make it here on Saturday for the Pleiadian. Can't even say it. I'm so excited. Pleiadian alignment special. Claudia, if you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome. Otherwise, we'll keep you here in spirit, and we will ask you to join us in spirit. We're not like imprisoning you or anything. We're just gonna ask you to join us kindly. If you don't want to come, it's fine. But
are you creating a karmic contract with me?
not
Only if you
on
agree to it.
purpose. So Claudia, we really appreciate you coming in here, especially after you've already done all these wonderful things for other people, the throat activation that you did earlier, all this planning to do, the great job you do with your social media platform. Super happy to have you as part of the community. Everybody make sure to check out her Spirit Guides class this Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific. More info on her Instagram page at Golden Age Alchemy. You can find a link in the bio there, and you should definitely follow her. Lots of good memes, constantly posting content, so many good tips, tons of good activities, really great platform. Make sure to not be missing that. Claudia, is there anything else you'd like to say before you get some sleep?
Just like go listen to the throat chakra activation so you can get that clarity and keep practicing one of the techniques we shared with you. Like, it doesn't matter if you learn. What matters is how you act. So like, do one of the things. You got so many awesome tips from all of us. So just implement one that calls to you, and use that in your daily practice, because your spiritual practice is not now like us getting together or you meditating. It's like literally your whole life is your spiritual practice.
100%.
So keep shining your light, and I hope to see you guys this Saturday or next Saturday, because the class is this Saturday or next Saturday. So I hope to see you guys, and thank you so much for having me again, and I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful night. Much love.
Thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and listen to some music as we get ourselves settled and get Claudia out of here. Please stay tuned for other weird things that we're going to do. I don't know what they are yet. I have no plan
Shakespeare happened
beyond
last
that.
night, so
But
who knows what could happen tonight.
we are going to go ahead and bring on this music. Again, this is Reinhard Bird doing some live improvisational looping. He's an excellent musician. His albums are very cheap. He charges basically album price for every album he's ever done. And if you buy one, you get all of them. If you don't have a CD player, they're all for MP3 as well. So be sure to stay here. Join us. Stretch your legs. We'll be back in a short while, and we'll do other weird things on the Starship Expanded Understanding.
BRB.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thank you. Alright, so when I snapped the string, my guitar went out. Give me 1 second. Grab the one in front. You see the guitar box? Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, guys, I do have CDs available. They're in the box, guitar bag. If you don't have a CD player, there's download codes inside of the CD sleeves, and you can download it for free and high quality. Obviously, not for free, but if you really can't afford it, then you can also grab one.
And we are back, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to Expanded Understanding post-break. I guess we can call this after hours time.
Yeah, I guess so. It's
How are
after
you
10.
all doing?
It's 10:08, which is 9, which is a great time, Zach.
It's like 108 only with an extra 0.
It's true. Shit, I gotta go this way.
There's a lot of
Oh,
sound in my
Those
background.
are girls in the background.
You might hear people having fun.
Multiple.
I am also having fun, but with less laughter. I'm letting them use mine. And how generous of me. So,
How
what are we
generous.
doing now in this time and place and space? It's tough to say, but we'll try to figure it out. I know of something that we could do because there is videos released by a guy that I find very interesting. We could watch one of those if we don't figure out something else to do. I'd like to hear in the chat what everybody thought of, Golden Age Alchemy being on here. Is that something you want to see more of? What do you guys think about other things that you think that we should do as basically community show themes? We're really open to doing kind of whatever, as you saw from Scuffed Hamlet last night. If you missed out on Scuffed Hamlet, you are definitely going to want to take
Definitely missing out.
another look back at that. Scuffed Hamlet was a very good time. We're actually going to go ahead and finish that up. Not right now, obviously, but in the future when we can get everybody aligned to make sure that we have all our players for all our parts in all their places. Definitely soon. So we did the first 2 acts. The third act is where Hamlet really kind of picks up and most people usually get interested. So
Perfect.
we churned through the boring part, basically. But at the same time...
The ghost having swearing Tourette's was the boring part. It's going to only get better then, for
we
sure.
made the boring part pretty unboring. I'm not going to lie. We did a pretty good job with that. So
Yeah, we did.
if you did not...
Shout out to Arya. Is it Arya Star? What's her last name?
that's the name that she goes by. I don't know if that's her real last name. Shout out to Arya from the community. She was on the show. Gently Healing, also on the show. Sasha Hicka, also on the show. 3 great community members. 3 great actresses.
Did you
Let's
know
get a round of applause for them.
That was Sasha's debut viewing. It's the first time she's ever done any kind of live video thing.
First time for Sasha ever doing any kind of live video thing. Let's give her a round of applause.
And she does
might have been Arya's
well
first time ever doing that as well. Not entirely sure.
So just so you guys know, if that was at least Sasha's first time, could have been someone else, and see that she used to be able to figure it out, and there's little things you can do, but she was able to be there the whole time, and it was her first time. So every time it gets easier, every time it gets better, not just more comfortable. You learn how to figure out where your phone, or set down your phone, or hold it, or it just gets easier and easier. So everybody just put that in your vortex and your awareness, and think that next time as we invite people on,
put it
jump
down
on.
deep inside.
Deep.
Just hold on.
All the way down. Deep. Gonna go back. Way back.
So Willow
back in the
asks
time.
in the chat, what are your favorite sigils? Aaron, sigils. What are your favorites? What do you think of them?
Sigils or symbols. I have lots of symbols. But I don't know, symbol sets more than sigils. But I do like, let's see. 6s and 9s with the spirals. Right? So I guess you can call that sigil. Symbol. But I don't know. I don't really have any traditional ones that I cling to or really connected with over time. I've gone through different ones, right? The Circle of Life or the Seed of Life or Flower of Life or the Metatron's Cube, or there's different ones I've used for different purposes and still do at different times. But nothing really deeply, profoundly, regularly, ritually. That just wasn't really part of my practice besides the cross, I guess. The unbalanced cross.
Well, this is popping up on the wrong monitor. Guess we're gonna have that at that size. Since you asked, I'll just for you, I'll take a quick little tour through a masterclass I once did.
Ooh.
We will be doing more of these, but
cool.
This is one that we did before. This one happened to be about symbolism. And we had 5 sections. The 5 symbol senses, symbols in dreams, symbols for guidance, symbols for creation. And then we took some time with some Q&A. But I made some slides for all of this. In section 1, we had the 5 symbol senses lined out around a pentagram, where we show beings, shapes, numbers, letters, and color as basically different formats of symbols and how they come together and work together to actually generate what we end up seeing. And there's a a lot of depth basically to that, to functionally how any of these 2 points create something. We looked into letters a little bit, where we took a
Dude,
look at the
hold on. I literally have that evolution of alphabet poster on the right. It's hanging on my wall.
That's a very, very good one. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It says in the Bible, in the King James Version, because the other ones weren't written in English, so it does not say that. But in the King James Version, it did say that. So the first thing that we started with was we were definitely looking at some letters. The most common symbols and sigils for you to work with in the modern day is the alphabet, or language as a whole. So looking through that, we looked at some other charts that really show us some pretty expansive looks at various different dialects and how they've changed over time, as you can see here. And then we moved on to numbers and talked about functionally how the 0 through 9 were the only real numbers, and many other things. But nevertheless, numbers are our next most common format of symbol. Numbers and letters we do all the time. Charlotte attended this class. She said that it was great. So everyone else probably would have liked it. I do have a recording somewhere, maybe, I think.
So why
But
is there
I could just do it better now.
Okay, I haven't been reading your thing. I've just been trying to look at the numbers and make meanings. But do you explain? You can just read from it after I ask this question. Excuse me, teacher. I have a question. Is there a reason that the sums of each
Aaron,
column
please raise your
goes-
hand. I'm going to need you to sit out in the hall for disrupting the class.
No, I'm raising my hand, please.
No,
I
I'm
just have a
taking you.
question.
I'm taking
No.
you back through a
No.
visceral memory of my time in public education. This is what it was like. Teacher, I have a question. Go sit out in the class. You're disrupting the class.
Yeah, it's
learn
like,
here.
no, yeah, no doubt. I'm
Anyways,
trying to help. So
What
is the reason?
is your
so
question, Aaron?
let's sum up each column, and we've got 7, 9, 11, 12, 5. Why? Is that significant?
This layout literally was just the first image that I found that was very simple and had the numbers 0 through 9.
Boo. All right. Well, maybe there's other layers. I just don't see them yet. I thought you could help me.
6, 9,
You cannot
11,
help me.
13, 9, or wait,
No,
7,
7,
7, 9,
9,
11,
11,
13,
4.
5.
Yeah, 13, 5.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been some meaning to it laid out in that. There probably is. You could probably take
Yeah.
the time to run through it. But
Please continue.
that was not
then.
part of the class. That's another layer.
Maybe next
This was
time.
the introductory class. So we moved on after that to shapes. Shapes are another very common symbol. Basically everything, especially if you look into the work of Dan Winter, can be made out of functionally these shapes that you see here on the left, or basically variations of them. He really likes to do a lot within, the icosahedron that you see here, and basically what that's made out of, which is a bunch of tetrahedrons, which you see here. But these have a lot of various different applications.
What are,
beyond-
Zach, real quick, what are the elements? So you got fire, earth, air, water, ether, right? So icosahedron's ether. I thought it was a decahedron.
Tetrahedron is fire, octahedron is air, hexahedron is earth, icosahedron is water, and dodecahedron is ether.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So looking deeper into some shapes, we looked at how number overlays into shapes. The angles of all of these things are very important and have a lot of interesting similarities. Then we also looked at how color played into this, and as you can see from this chart, we have charts available that show us, basically all of the connections of the chakras and their tones and everything like that. Aaron has one of these charts behind him at his house a lot of the time that makes a lot of these same correlations. We looked at how those are used inside of advertising to subtly nudge the mind into making a decision through symbolism used by marketing and mass corporations that are doing their best to get you to utilize their services.
You hold on. You know what's interesting about the last one?
Let's move back to the last one. What is interesting about this, Aaron? Tell us, please.
Because it says creative is the purple or the violet, and wise makes sense, but creative and wise, I would have thought creative would have been sacral or orange. And it's not. Orange is what's the orange one?
I could have probably gone with creative on orange as
Oh,
well.
you created this.
No, I did not create this. This is what is used inside of marketing.
Yeah,
as
that's
what
I
they
thought.
consider to be functionally color theory. And
Yeah,
this
so
is
why do you think green or purple is creative and orange was optimism?
I would say
they
because
choose
crown
that?
chakra, and crown chakra is really where creativity. When we're talking about creativity inside of marketing, we usually actually really mean our function of imagination. Creativity is really just making anything. I mean, that's not what they're really trying to incite with
I
that
gotcha.
though. And this is
Yeah.
really just a a list of what these various companies in here have tried to incite with
Yeah.
those colors and how they are used by other people. Right?
Yeah.
I would put personally creative, because that is a process of reproduction, and reproduction is commanded by the sacral chakra, which is the
Yeah.
orange chakra. I would put creative at
Or friendly,
orange
yes, right? Yeah.
personally, where
Yeah, yeah.
friendly is, but friendly is perfectly fine for that too, because
Totally.
I mean this aligns. Like I'm fine with these things.
Mhm.
Really, what we're looking at here is what companies such as Nintendo, Kmart, YouTube, Coca-Cola, Sci-Fi, Dell, Lowe's, Flickr, J.P. Morgan, Whole Foods, Amazon, Payless Shoes, Firefox, Fanta, Stars, etc., what they're trying to incite you to think through those
Mhm.
colors. We moved on then to beings and talking about how those can be plants, humans, or potentially some kind of crazy trans-dimensional person with a hat made out of colors and and is liquid or something.
Mhm.
So, and we say, as we say here, beings are simply complex combinations of the other four quote-unquote senses, otherwise known as the quintessence of the elements coming together in the phi or the five. The section 2 was symbols inside of dreams. We looked into Mr. Carl Jung, who is, of course, the king of dreams, basically, in
Mhm.
terms of analysis of them. Various quotes, and basically some quick tips on lucidity. Lucid dreaming is something I have massive amounts of experience with, and if you're looking to lucid dream more in your life, please reach out. We could work together. We looked at section 3 into generating symbol sets, and Willow, I think this is where you'll probably find it even more interesting. Instead of what's
Even
out there,
more.
let's think about what we could put out
And
there.
hold on. First, Willow said, or Crumb said, the English alphabet, my least favorite sigil. I understand, Willow. Okay, please continue.
Well, I can understand why a person would say that. It is a very, very diverse cipher and holds enormous amounts of symbolism in it. And while that makes it super confusing in many ways and stuff like that, it really is probably one of the best symbolic ciphers out there. There is so much stuff encoded in it, the way that the words are played
Yeah.
with. Really incredible. So
Yeah.
at one layer of generating symbol sets, we're looking at how we can basically produce more symbols into our life. One common way to do that is with card systems such as tarot, oracle, animal medicine cards. There's about 1 million different kinds out there now. You could probably get some Star Trek cards that'll tell you how to live your life.
I bet.
If you
Teal
paid
Swan
enough
just started
attention to
selling
them
cards.
and
Do you know that?
tried to listen to them, they probably would help you live
Have
your
you
life.
have you seen
I
that?
have not
It's-
seen Teal Swan's cards at all.
Yeah,
I'm
they just came out.
personally
It's
not
her.
entirely sure about her.
I'll have to have you listen to one episode, one interview she did with Andrew Bartzis and some other radio hosts back in 2013 or 14. But it's like 2 or 3 hours, but you get all the back history on both of them that you want, like in their own dialogue with each other. It was the first time dialogue with each other
I'm
too.
not really worried about their
Very
back history. I'm worried about their present choices.
No. Oh, yeah. But like the reading into the back energy of like understanding different layers of that, but present dynamics.
I'd watch
too.
it, but I don't know about them. My intuition doesn't know about Teal Swan yet. That's all I'm saying.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. I'm trying to bring you some like material that'll give you a resonance of them. That's still their base frequencies, right? So it's going to give you a tune into them and them expressing their whatever, all of more of
We'll check it
the
out.
deeper stuff. I know. I'm just
happy to
saying.
check it
I know. I know how you feel.
I know, man. I know.
And
I forgot to
I'm
switch the
sorry.
overlay, man. How
I
janky.
keep-
Sorry about that, guys.
Janky. Do you want me to shut up? And do you want to teach the class? Because I feel like we're engaging, but then there's also cool side stories. But if you want to just like teach it and have me just, I'll do that too.
I mean, I was just trying to blast through it real quick to basically answer
No,
this
but I
question,
like
but
it.
we can do the
No,
side
let's
stories,
break it
too.
down.
It's something to talk
Yeah,
about.
let's like totally. Yeah, man. Like let's expand on shit on here because the Ovid you made a really good fucking slide here. There's definitely shit to talk about at times. So it's just pretty basic. That's cool. But like, oh shit, fuck yeah, man, it's super interesting. I mean, to me, you know.
I mean, they say that if you're ever doing a presentation, you should never have like more than, I think it's like 12 slides is like the maximum. And this is like 3 times as long as that, like way longer than a presentation. I tried to deliver it in an hour. Like it was not enough time. So I even kind of blazed through it there. Honestly, the information inside of this thing, like I could literally talk to you for the rest of your life on this presentation.
I know.
Literally the rest of your life. So Teal Swan is great. Expand my understanding, please. I don't have anything to expand your understanding with because I don't know. My intuition just isn't entirely sold on her for whatever reason. It could be my own shit.
Total. Well, like, or just lack of focus time of awareness on her because you haven't engaged with her, interacted with her. You might not have been drawn to her, really drive into her material. So you just haven't. So the intuition of the interactions you have had thus far lead you to the present moment of intuition that you have about her because of your focused attention on her and lack of personal or secondhand experiences, which I'm about to provide you with one.
That's a very masculine way of looking at intuition. I
But
don't
it's
believe it works
indeed-
that way.
You don't think so?
No. No, I don't. I believe that those are all reasons that my mind could possibly nudge my intuition to believe something else. But the intuitive conversation has already happened. That, to me, what was that? Oh, I was moused over something. That, to me, is, well, it's functionally a drive to have something isolated as being a yes or no. I have things that intuitively appear as no to me. I have things that appear as yes, and I have things that appear as I don't know.
Totally.
And she's in the I don't know category.
Yes. So I'm trying to paint a logical bridge of the I don't know, which is the 98%. Give it where whatever if you're going to put numbers
That's
on it,
never
right?
going
Great
to
Jedi
affect
shit.
my intuition. My
No,
intuition
but
is always
listen.
going to be an I don't know feeling until it's not an I don't know feeling.
Correct, I know, but don't you feel like there's a spectrum of I don't
You
know?
think that logic is going to shift
Okay,
it
listen.
around?
Look at the
I
screen.
don't think it
look at the
works that
screen.
way.
Hold on, look at the screen. Put me on the big screen real quick. I gotta line this up.
Big screen, Aaron.
Okay. Where's my? This reverse screen sucks. Okay, so here's no. Okay, here's yes. Right.
Sure.
Okay. In between is I don't know. Now we'll say our consciousness or intuition's a little boat riding in this I don't know space based on focused awareness towards that being. There's fucking infinite shit to focus on the universe. So like this is one little sphere of one person, and that's not a small thing at all.
Right.
This is like its own universe of understanding and information, interactions, past history, soul contract, blah 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 blah. Right.
Right.
So writing in this I don't know, which I don't know about quite a lot of things. Some things I'm a lot closer to yes, but
you wouldn't know because you're in I don't know space.
Don't know. Well, I don't know. So here's my experience with it. It's put me more towards I understand the I don't know for me. That the solid I really don't. I don't know for a long time, right? Pretty anchored middle of I don't know. But then over time, going more towards I'm definitely not in a yes. Some people Frank, I'm a yes. I'm a yes. There's some people solid for me, and over time, actions, behaviors, whatever. But for sure. But then there's people, for her, because of the things once I'm done with all this pretext I'll tell you about, she's a lot closer to yes and far more interesting and fascinating and really cool person to me. So,
sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not claiming that what you're saying isn't functional for something. I have no drive to isolate her more to yes or no.
Exactly.
Out of I don't know. It will happen at some point in time if it is relevant to my life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
totally.
I don't hide away from it, but I also don't seek it.
No, right. So that's what I'm saying, though. This is totally an isolated representation of all things. Any subject matter we could put our focus awareness on has its own.
Are we talking about this because we're looking at the Fool card?
Well, I think Teal Swan came up before. Yeah, tarot cards, Teal Swan's cards. Okay, so I only had one joint, man. I think because of the Golden Age alchemy thing, we were asking lots of questions, which is cool. I love hearing her talk and explain things. It's great. And she said she was tired too. When I had to pop off screen, early on, remember? I literally was falling asleep sitting there. So I just popped off screen, laid back for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, I was gone in the back, and then I was still tired, but I just had to. I was so tired. Anyway, so. So I'm out here in the dark and hooded, smoking. It's funny. All right, so
we got the Unabomber as our special guest tonight. Aaron couldn't make it.
Jesus, the Unabomber.
He's hiding outside. So Willow asks here, do you think there are languages superior to English? Sometimes I find it hard to fit complex thoughts and ideas into words. Okay, you want to spend more time talking about Teal Swan and how I'm not sold on her?
I haven't even gotten to it. No, listen, dissociate this from you not being sold on her. I'm going to share a story.
Okay.
I'm going to share a story about her. You said you don't know much about her. She's an I don't know for you. That for me dove microscopically deep into just a paradigm that applies to anything we might focus on amorally. That's all. She was just an example. Because you're in an I don't know spot, I can relate to that in general. I can also specifically relate to that to her. And then so there's relevance in the subject matter. Plus she asked, expand my understanding, please. She's talking about Teal. So let me give you the real quick my story, and then we can move on.
Okay.
So, okay, so she's got some really, really good psychology. I mean, she's got like hundreds of videos, if not 1,000 plus at this time. She has a lot of like 2-minute to 20-minute to 30-minute-ish little takes on subject matter. You know, some are fine, some are cool, some are good, some are like, fuck, man, that was really, really helpful for understanding the psychology of my wife or ex-wife, the psychology of people in general, like additional layers, because I already understood psychology really well, and people like, but I'm like, shit, man, there's some really incredible insights. Yeah. So, oh my God. Right, yeah. It is. Technically, look up a cult. Look up a cult. I think amorally, like Christianity was a cult before it became the accepted religion.
Man.
Like everything's a cult when it starts, like a group of people with similar beliefs or some shit. And having beliefs about the esoteric or the unseen or whatever.
Second word of the day, cult.
Cult, do it. And the occult, I think, is to conceal.
Realize that culture comes from cult. We all live in a culture. Technically, we're all part of a cult in that regard.
Yep.
So cult itself, a system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. A relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. So, I mean, technically, it's a yes. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we're all in a cult.
Are we a cult?
We're in the expanded
I
understanding
cannot
cult.
tell you how many times someone has referred to me as some kind of cult leader, and I have to point out to them, I have no doctrine. So I have no interest in leading anyone anywhere. So, nevertheless,
that's a great line. I like Zach.
Also
I'm really,
on
really
Spaceship Earth.
What?
You're gonna what?
I'm really going to use that line. That's really going to help with Christians. Like when I start getting accused of that, like, look, I have no doctrine.
Yeah.
I'm a human. We're figuring
I don't
out.
have a
That's all.
belief. So
Yeah.
if I don't have a
I know.
belief, I can't be encouraging others to believe it.
I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That language specifically is so perfect, and I had not thought of it yet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there languages superior to English in a certain way? We can answer real quick that technically
Do it.
there's a superior way to use English. Usually, you just it's a very cryptic thing. So,
Yep.
Technically, when we're going with a cult in Spaceship Earth, which are the people who created the biosphere, they're what was their name? The Synergists is what this group was to begin with. They started out as just a group of random individuals around, I believe it was the San Francisco area. They first out decided that society wasn't for them. They were going to go live on a ranch, and they were going to build out this ranch to be completely self-sustaining. That happened quite quickly. They bought a 40-acre ranch and had a bunch of people living there, and they developed it all out and everything. They decided they wanted to go bigger. They built up a ship, literally a metal ocean-faring ship, not just a boat. They then used this ship to float around the end, all over the place, on everywhere you'd want to go, including Antarctica. They were a group of actors that kind of put on plays, but really that was just kind of something they did for fun. They didn't really do it for money. But one of their claims to fame,
when they hired Pauly Shore? Is that where he came in?
They did not hire Pauly Shore, but nevertheless, one of their claims to fame as a small troupe of actors was that they were the only, or one of the only, acting troupes that had actually performed on all 8 continents, including Antarctica.
Cool.
So, because they pulled up to Antarctica on their boat and then got off and did a play for themselves.
Totally, right on, man.
So-
That's legit.
Yeah, it's legit,
There
dude. You ever
people
gone to
do.
Antarctica and done a play? Didn't think so. You know?
That's right.
So that's pretty sick. So
No doubt.
nevertheless, more power to him for that. But then they decided they wanted to go a step bigger. They had met up with a guy who was talking about basically the idea of okay, so the Adobe people, the Adobe tribal people, they used to live in little, the way that they set up their housing and stuff was basically a completely sustainable place where they had all the stuff that they grew, all of the places where they lived, and all of the civic centers and all this stuff, and they kept these in caves and stuff a lot of the time. This guy took the idea of basically building a sphere out of this, and this got to kind of extrapolated to how, in a certain way, the Earth is one of those, with the atmosphere being the outside of that, hence Spaceship Earth. And this led to a project called Biosphere 2, the Earth being Biosphere 1. And Biosphere 2 was out in the Arizona desert at a place called Oracle, Arizona. Probably didn't choose that town for any reason. But nevertheless, Oracle, Arizona, And they opened this up for basically like a 2-year project to see if people could sustain life there. This project, for a variety of reasons, didn't go as well as their previous ones. Nevertheless, one of the things that was learned from that. Where did we tangent off of?
Dude,
talk
you've
about
been
Spaceship
going,
Earth?
bro. I don't know, but I'm like, all right, maybe.
I gave a book report real fast. Thank you for joining for my TED Talk on Spaceship Earth. If you would like to check, if you'd like to check it out, maybe go check that out. I'm gonna send this in to them to see if I can get some advertising money because I basically just gave them a book report.
100%.
Spaceship Earth.
We'll throw
what did they
Spaceship
learn?
Earth. Hey,
there was something that they learned on there.
We'll throw Spaceship
applied.
Earth into the tags with Abzu and Timon. You got it.
Sure. So what was? Oh, cults. They talk about on there that basically every single thing starts as a cult, even at the corporate level, especially in America. People circulate around a certain idea. So think about it. I think of basically a proprietary idea for, say, a social media platform. And then I tell a couple other people, like, hey, here's a good idea, right? Like, let's do this thing. We could get a lot of that. It's going to work, right? And they're like, yeah, that shit will work. I'm willing to help you out with that. And then you form this little micro team that's going to work together to accomplish this goal and carve out your own little space inside of the world where you got your own little ecosystem that you're generating this stuff, right? So technically all of this basically starts out as a cult, even at the corporate level, governmental level, same thing. Technically all of that stuff is a cult because we can take this idea of system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. You can take out religious veneration and devotion and basically a system of religious veneration and devotion could be said as a doctrine directed towards a particular figure or object. That's pretty much what a doctrine is. If we look in a dictionary for doctrine, it is a belief or set of beliefs held and taught by a church, political party, or other group, a stated principle of government policy, mainly in foreign or military affairs. So it's basically a statement of your agenda, right? It's a statement of your belief or set of beliefs. So you can take the idea that there's a system of religious veneration and devotion that would be denoted by some type of communication, right? So your doctrine would be a statement of the system of which your devotion is directed towards. But that's basically what a corporation is. Am I familiar with the Venus Project? I've heard this name before, and when I look it up here in just 1 second, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, the Venus Project. Let me look real quick. Do you know what the Venus Project is?
No, but unless that ties in, we can wrap up this Teal Swan thing real quick.
Yes, the Venus Project. They're trying to do something similar. It's a resource-based economy thing. Actually, a good friend of mine linked this to me the other day. Haven't done enough research into it myself to say whether or not I think what they're doing is a good idea. But the person who linked it to me is a very credible source inside of my life. So there's a good chance that this is decent. But I can't put my seal of approval on it. Orf, orf, orf. Yet,
that's so
because
funny.
I have not looked at it. Yeah, Teal Seal, Teal Swan,
Teal Swan.
Something like that. Jehovah's Witnesses was literally like being in a cult. I mean, technically, being an American is kind of like being in a cult because you subscribe to a set of beliefs that are held by the rest of the Americans.
Especially when you really, really enjoy associating yourself with the word patriot. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So that kind of tangented off because I brought up this image, which was really just supposed to be a meme. But what we were talking about is basically the idea of not Teal Swan specifically, but rather the idea that your intuition can be undecided, decided as a yes or a no. So it can basically be in 3 states. Walter Russell, the 3 states of energy. Anode, cathode, and the 0-point unity.
Now, the one that you didn't elaborate on, would you think, because I described it as like 1%, 1%, and then like, the 98%, so I don't know, would you agree with that kind of the in-between space, the sizes of them?
If you're functionally into a hard yes, you're at a limited space, you could understand that as a boundary. If you're functioning at a hard no, you're at a limited space, you can understand as a boundary. Boundary doesn't go farther than the boundary, so functionally, yes, it is a 1% case. With everything else being in there. Percentages are, of course, approximations. I don't know how much the universe weighs, but I could take a guess.
We're trying to use English sigils to get framework to something that is absolutely
I think
ineffable.
functionally you can understand it that way for sure. A cult tells
Okay.
you what to believe. Truth opens you to see and know without manipulation. Now, I would agree with this functionally. Yeah. I mean, in what the word is defined as is like different, but in terms of what it actually operates at, I completely agree with this comment. By the way, Christina L., good to see you here. I don't remember if you've been here before. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. Thank you for taking part in the chat. We
Yeah,
appreciate you
thanks for
being
being
here,
here.
especially with great ideas like this. So,
Okay, I
how
have
do
a
you feel
comment
about
on that.
that?
Yeah, so like on one hand, I mean, any quote I feel like is really good when you look at it in certain ways. Some go deeper than others, which is why they're really good quotes. But at the same time, to me, like everything's a manipulation. If your consciousness, your manipulation, in a sense, if you're going to go this direction, you're going to displace other things in a sense, or you're going to encounter other things, or some form of manipulating your choices in some level, right? Some level of existence. So like, manipulations, I think, feel a lot of times is a word that's very nuanced with negative, bad things. But manipulation is very amoral. I feel like, like everything we're doing, like planning a party or planning to go to the store, we're manipulating our schedule, or other people after we schedule this person, or I can't do this. I mean, everything's a manipulation in some sense. You know what I mean? Or also just an additional facet.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting really into definitions, manipulation is really just to make something move functionally or to bring it to action.
Right.
And so I think
Manipulating
what we're
energy.
really, if we're really parsing verbiage here, and I think this is what she's saying anyways, is
Yeah.
truth opens you to see and know without telling you what to like where to go.
There you go. Yeah,
right?
yeah. That ideally,
think
there is
that rhymes
ideally no
too.
manipulation.
Truth opens you to see and know without telling you where to go.
Ooh,
So this
well
is,
done.
and I think that's probably the thing, and that's echoed in her first statement here. The cult tells you what to believe. So I would agree with that. I haven't dug into her work enough to see if there's some type of doctrine that she's pushing. Does anybody feel like there's a doctrine that she's putting? Okay, influence isn't the same as manipulation. It allows the choice to be yours. Manipulation is control. Influence gives you the choice. Again, I mean, parsing verbiage here for sure. I understand the difference that you're delineating, and it says like functionally not wrong. But yeah, like I think they could safely be delineated that way. I don't think all people
I know what
have
you're
them
saying.
necessarily delineated that way.
Yeah.
So, I think they can be for sure. When we talk about manipulation, we generally do mean control in this day and age. When we're really parsing verbiage is where we get to like, what does it really mean in the long run? Because I can say that I manipulated my arm to grab my cup and take a drink of water.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's technically a completely legitimate sentence, as manipulation literally just means handle or control, typically in a skillful manner. That's the definition, at least, that I brought up. But then we have this control, and interestingly, it says influence, cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. So we should, I mean, if we're, again, parsing verbiage, influence, the capacity to have an effect on the character development or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself, or the power to shape policy. So, I mean, with influence, but then at the same time, we're also saying electrical or magnetic induction is a format of influence also. So, but with, I think this is fair verbiage for talking to most people. Like if you say manipulation to them, they're going to think like, oh yeah, somebody is unscrupulously dominating my mind to make me believe something. But if they've just influenced me, I mean, we saw social media influencer, right? Obviously, pop culture is okay with the word influence, and they feel like it's not an unsavory thing. But I mean, Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, the ultimate villain of it, influenced other individuals to do things that they did not want to do with the dark side of the Force, for instance. And you can use your influence for anything as well. Yeah. So, but I do agree. Generally, influence means something like that.
Yeah. Well, and
that's really the important thing, right? Is that like you're allowed to have the choice yourself. If your sovereignty is taken away by whatever you're interacting with, you probably shouldn't be interacting with it, and B, probably should not be giving away your sovereignty. In my experience, that leads to bad things. You may find different results. Feel free to test. But inside of my own life, I
Yeah,
will
that's
not
never
be giving
gone
my
well.
sovereignty away any more times because it
Nope.
always went very bad.
Yeah,
So,
dude,
um,
100%.
Venus Project is worth looking into and is kind of like a benevolent technocracy. So I like the idea of
Ooh.
technocracy, obviously, as I use computers like all day long. So
Mhm.
that's for sure. I'm definitely going to look into the Venus Project. So there's, I again on that one, it's an I don't know for me. There's been many people who have
Mhm.
tried to basically create breakout cultures, and I think a lot of the time, and I know a lot of other people think about it this way, specifically some people who are investors, large scale investors that are the kind of people that would be able to get this off the ground. Because I've sat in meetings with them about projects like this, like giant ecosystems. A lot of times the people with these things, they really, for lack of a better terminology and parsing words, kind of have their heads in the clouds and they think basically from the sky. So
Yep.
they have a huge grandiose idea for what they're going to do, and they're not grounded with that idea. They don't have like some
Or
plan to
actually put
build
legs on the ground.
frameworks that build up to it. Like this kind of thing with like a Venus project, which I guess we've pretty much effectively tangented to that. The thing that Aaron's bringing up with the 3 different spaces that the intuition can be in is a central theme of this entire show. We love the number 3 here, and the number 3
Mhm.
is all about that. So the Venus Project, we're changing gears. Are you okay with that, Aaron? I don't want you to feel like I'm stepping on your toes.
No, that's fine. It's just interesting
Chat
that
once with the
whole.
chat once.
Yeah, that's fine. Then we'll move on.
The Venus Project. What do I like immediately? Resource-based economy. I don't think there is any other kind of economy that works because if it's not based on resources, it is fictitious. I like the fact that their buildings here on the layout are in concentric rings. That's a good call. I'm about that. If the central hub is placed on the right location, this could be a fantastic idea. Everything starts with an idea. No doubt about that, but that's where it comes from initially, way up here. And then it gets down into a human being and they're like, oh my gosh, we could do this. And they need to bring it all the way, rest of the way down to where they're like, but first we're going to do this thing. And on top of that, we're going to do this thing. And on top of that, we're going to do this thing. And then they get it all the way back up. And so it starts with an idea when it comes down metaphysically, but when it starts taking shape physically, it becomes physical and then metaphysical again. Really. So
Yeah.
in order for it to come from idea all the way down and go back up and become a legacy, it has to go through the course of action. And when it goes through the course of action, it's better to work from the bottom to get to the top than be completely focused on the top. And what I mean with this is that sometimes, people will they'll want to build something that should basically be the top end of your deployment, and they want to basically build that thing first. And it just doesn't work really that good. Like you can't have some major gigantic attraction that needs millions of dollars of investment to even get off the ground before you have some type of functioning model that's actually going to generate money or something like that, unless you're living in some kind of reality where just people are just giving you that amount of money for no reason, which is quite unlikely because money on a certain level, because we can exchange it for other things, is a resource. And people don't really like to give away resources for nothing, because they do have an intrinsic value. So it does definitely start with an idea, but sometimes it's good to kind of harness those ideas and leash them in and do the next step, not the thing that's 1,000 steps from now. Yeah, exactly. Work from the ground up. Right? I have gigantic ideas, just as big as any of these guys, but I'm running a podcast and several other social media platforms completely for free to give people tons and tons and tons of value. So hopefully they will want to also help me generate those other things that I believe will generate even more value. So this is what the ground looks like. My ideas are like completely, I can envision a completely different Earth and say that I want that. But, so think of Star Trek Utopia, smart cities, free time for all, smart building, tons of automation. So yeah, I mean, functionally, that's the utopia of technocracy, right? Like we've merged with effectively AI and robotics, and we've taken out all the menial operations of life, or all the robotic, you could say, the procedural functions of human life, and replaced them with a robot or some type of artificial intelligence that can handle those. And presumably inside of this utopic civilization, those robots and artificial intelligences don't decide that we are just a waste of resources and basically delete us. And so that's quite possible. Both sides of those things. we are in the 98% space. We don't know what they'll do because we don't have one yet. Regardless of that, Star Trek Utopia, smart cities, smart buildings, tons of automation, buku dollars, many dollars. What's their capitalistic approach to generate the resources needed to get that Star Trek spaceship, the USS Enterprise, called the Venus Project, off the ground? Because this little image that they got right here, with tons of these are all smart buildings and tons of automation, presumably got robots and AIs and shit inside of that with all this automation. Otherwise, what are you automating for? This is a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. That kind of money just doesn't like fall out of the sky. You know, it's a really cool idea. I don't disagree. I haven't looked into it enough to see whether or not they have some type of ground-up process to actually make this happen. Going around asking for other people to be nice and give them the money that they need to generate something that looks anything like this is not a reality. It will never happen. It would be great if it would, but if it would have been done 30 years ago. I knew people when I first started ever doing anything with conspiracy theory, spirituality, open-minded thinking, that wanted to do exactly the thing you're looking at right now. And they put together big groups, and hundreds of people were working for it, and then a thing happened, and it never happened. And then it happened, and then another group came together, and another group, and another group. And much like the concentric rings of this city right here, they all start with a very tremendous building in the center. A beautiful, wonderful lotus of an idea. We zoomed in too far. But as they get a bit farther out from that idea, you see that factions start to generate themselves, much like these buildings separate off. And then you find that you end up having delineating roads. At first, they come in, and you think that the whole entire reason that they're there is because they're providing you with some type of additional convenience, right? Oh, yeah, it's so big, we should be able to drive around the outside. The problem comes when you then want to put something outside of it. And because of this road, some people are from the wrong side of the tracks. And they're the ones that get your food, as you see out here with these Quonset huts. This is where they're going to grow all their food, because you always grow the food on the outside of the property, and then you put residences on the next row in, and then you put civic buildings, and then ideally, because you built it in the right spot, at the very central hub, you put the spiritual temple, or whatever kind of gathering place that is for basically all of your events, because it's laying right on proper ley lines, so it has the best coherence. But when you have your farmers ending up out here, and there's a road between them and the civic center, the people who operate inside of the civic center oftentimes start to look down upon these other people out here. Or the other people start to think that they do that, even if they aren't doing that. So there's issues that need to be accounted for. And there's been many people that have tried to do this. They almost all want it to be, as it says up here, beyond politics, poverty, and war. It's a great idea. Wonderful idea. What a wonderful place to live in. Coherence. Everyone's heaven. Absolutely. I think you can bring this together on certain scales. The bigger that scale gets, the greater the coherence needed throughout the entirety of the whole. The whole is always the sum of its parts. So as you add on more parts, you have to ensure that those parts are actually coherent with the whole. Otherwise, your culture gets messed up. And regardless, if you're bringing things to coherence right like that, it's great inside of this little civilization right here, but the people right outside of it might believe something completely different.
True story. Hunger Games, all that shit, man.
Exactly. So, right, but our handlers now want to retire us like horses got retired after cars and tractors. Right? I mean, we don't have handlers. We have people that we allow to handle us.
Oh, well said, sir. Yes.
So
Very
I mean,
well said.
nobody been telling me what to do in my life. I've been
Fuck
doing
yeah,
whatever the
man.
fuck
Well
I want
said.
for my entire life. And supposedly there's these handlers all over the place and whatnot. You have to make a choice. You have to make the choice for yourself. You have to
Yep.
make the choice to be like, nope, I don't agree with that. I don't follow any law in any country based off the fact that it is a law in that country. I follow that law because it happens to align with my own personal moral code. So you can't be handled if you don't let them have the leash. You know what I mean?
100%,
So,
man. Let me make that Zach quote.
When
The one you said before.
someone's walking a dog down the street, that dog can be obedient with them, or the dog generally is stronger and they can't actually hold it back. That dog could pull as hard as it wanted to, and probably pull that thing away, or the dog could simply stop and hold itself, and you would see very quickly its handler gets extremely frustrated. This happens in your own life when you're playing the handler. Think of what happens to your handler on this other metaphysical level if you simply stop and don't choose to go where you're being dragged. Then how effective is the leash? And thus, how effective is the handler? The power was always in the hands of the people. All the time. Farmers are robots in this plan. Yeah, I can understand where you could get harvest from that. You know, people are they gonna cook the food and then cut it up for us and fly it into our mouth like a little airplane too? Because that sounds like a plan for a pretty weak society. And I hope they do get this set up, because if that's their idea, to take into the full scope that I'm joking about right there, this is all said in jest. If that's the situation, I'll simply camp outside of their walls for 5 years and wait until they turn into a bunch of weaklings, and then take over their entire city by myself and have all of their resources to myself. And if that me isn't me, it would be a different me, because that literally that leads to weakness. No one works unless they want to in VP. Yeah, I mean, again, we're getting pretty utopic there. There's jobs that it requires to be able to like operate a society that has humans inside of it, unless this is basically going to be a big monastery where everyone meditates all day. It would have to be a full Earth-wide reboot from the ground up. If it's a full Earth-wide reboot from the ground up, we don't need the Venus Project. We just use the Earth Project.
Zach,
Sorry.
have you noticed that I'm scooping ice cream yet? Where did he go? He literally left.
Hey, somebody walked in here and I wanted to say hi to them, and it was what my heart wanted, so I had to do it.
That's totally fine. But have you noticed I'm scooping ice cream yet?
Yes, you are scooping ice cream. It is true. And pretty soon we're going to put you in full screen eating that ice cream. All right, it's going to be Aaron's ice cream moment while Zach goes and talks to Joe instead of talking to all of you. But to finish up on the Venus Project, love the idea. It's a good hustle. It's going to need a lot of good teamwork. And hopefully we can bring something together like this. I would be happy to partner up with them and give my time to it, and our community's time, if they really actually have the vision. They're really actually willing to do it the way that not the way that they want to do it, but the way that reality requires them to do it in order to get them done. It's not about what you want to do. If you're saying I want this utopia in the future, you want some eschaton, it's not about what you want to do, it's about what does it take to get to that thing. So I hope they want to do this. I hope it is a real thing. I don't know. Aaron, tell us about that ice cream.
All right. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. I just showered right before the show. It's super fluffy. Well, that's kind of cool. It's a butter pecan, Southern butter pecan. It's that private reserve shit I was talking about. Dude, you know what I realized? Well, Zach probably left, but you know what I realized? This shit, like, I was going to go get ice cream while Zach was talking. And, oh, I got a light that I don't have turned on. It's kind of nice not having it in my eyes. Is that better, though? Does that look a lot better? Because I tolerate it, because I feel like it looks better, but tune it out, actually. So, Willow's eating ice cream right now. Cool. So I realized when I decided to go get ice cream, I'm like, oh shit, it's going to be on camera again. This is going to become like microcon. It's going to become like one video Zach's going to make at some point of all the times on camera Aaron's eating ice cream on camera, right? And then they're also going to have now that B-roll or whatever of me scooping ice cream, because it was funny, but I'm aware of how this shit works. But I did it because I wanted it. not because of great content, like, but it's a reality of putting a lot of your life online, I guess, you know. Anyhow, so I mean, need a bite. My fingers are cold. I can't tell you yet because the first bite just saturates the palate with like a new flavor, and it kind of mixes with the old. But so the second bite or the second sip, that's like totally different. I ate a lot of ice cream. What's true about a lot of foods and drinks too. That's funny. Mukbang with Aaron. Yeah, because it was that night, which is also the slug meditation night, which is when, let's see, Sasha was there last night, we realized, or in the slug meditation one, and there last night. She was there for two of like the weirdest episodes we've ever done. And like we did the Shakespeare thing last night, and she was in that, and then the slug one, she was in that. So like that's cool. What's the next one? What's your favorite ice cream memory? Okay, well let me string it. Let me tell you the story again. Oh my gosh, on camera, big screen. Okay, Grandma, if you ever see this, Mom, it's just part of our lives. It's fine. We don't need to feel bad. See? Okay. So, boys like ice cream, right? Realizing totally comfort food for sure. Like we're all aware of that, and it's like a family thing. We've kind of known that, right? And I know me and my mom really like ice cream. Always like ice cream. Anytime I go to Dairy Queen and I'm in the area or I'm coming over, I definitely get one for my mom, right? And now my grandma too. But when I went on this trip to Alaska with my grandma last summer, which was wonderful, the whole trip was so cool. But we were eating lunch one day and like talking about ice cream, and she asked if I was gonna have some. It's like, oh, I wasn't sure, probably, but I wasn't sure of something. She goes, I think I like really. I said, but I really like ice cream, and she said, me too. She goes, ice cream solves a lot of problems. I was like, really? And it just dawned on me like how that's passed down in our family. Yeah, it's comforting. It's comfort food. It's great. That's funny. Okay, so favorite memory. Oh yeah, so my point is like I'm trying to think. But I really enjoy the ice cream. Like right now, I enjoy it. It's not like sad comfort food always. Maybe that's the thing. People think comfort food is like sad food, but it's just food that makes you happy in some way, shape, or form. Like soul food. I don't know. I really enjoy ice cream and eat it, and it's great. Okay, so I wish I could eat ice cream. Sorry, it's like eating food on camera or something when someone's fasting. This is worse. Ice cream does not like me anymore. Oh, dude, if you're lactose intolerant, I used to take, what are those things? You can just buy them even like QFC. It's some kind of enzyme. Like it's not the lactate. Lactate. I think it's that one. That seemed to work really well. I can take that with ice cream or whatever. But it's interesting. I've changed my gut microbiome over time intentionally, doing different ferments and different supplements and different things. I should turn this down because I talk with my hands a lot. So, and so, all right. And so, it doesn't seem like it used to give me like really bad gas, right? It's like a family thing from my dad's side, which is interesting because my mom and grandma don't get gas from ice cream, but me, my brother, and my sister do, or I used to, right? Always have. And so, all right, a lot of things going through my head. Hold on. Let me have some more ice cream. Balance the energy. Okay. So, me and my three siblings, or two siblings, I mean, and three of us, we always get really bad Castle ice cream. Certain foods, we just know it was like a Kessler thing, right? And so, but I've realized over the last couple of years, probably 4 years or so, I started like really started to become aware of my gut microbiome stuff and different dynamics and breathing and healing and just a lot of tuning into my body and different things. Oops, almost dripped ice. Oh shit, I did drip ice cream. Sorry, Grandma. Wait, it's not Grandma's carpet. It's gone. Got it. It's rugged commercial carpet down here in the office. Okay, so just dripped ice cream. All right. So, but I noticed like when other people would have bad gas and stuff, and I eat the same things they eat, or my siblings, I'm like, oh shit, I don't. Interesting. You know, where I'd eat it on my own or stuff like that, and I just realized it kind of went away. So that's interesting. So maybe I adjusted my microbiome to be able to help digest, because I used to be lactose intolerant, or have that same dynamic. First number one, and I don't anymore. So that was a very long story from comments that were a while ago. Jesus. Okay, have you ever tried making nice cream mellow? Oh, what's an ice cream? Ice cream, or did you mean ice cream? It's made with frozen fruits and nuts. Oh, okay. Milk, frozen fruits and nut milks usually has a banana as a base. That sounds good. Ice cream with Aaron. Yeah, it's gonna happen, I'm sure. I have Jasmine. Ice cream is my #1 favorite food. Yeah, it's very good. I have a lot. I like pizza. I like Italian foods, like lasagna. I like fast food certain times, right? Like decently often. Just like, man, it sounds really good. Go get a burger or something. And it's like, I like Dairy Queen and Wendy's. I feel like their burgers are better than most. And then I'm trying to think, I don't know, but I really kind of will go for it wherever. That I also really like, that I've had recently, is toast with avocado and salt and pepper. Like, that's it, right? Or tomatoes, sliced Roman tomatoes or something. Super yum. There's a lot of stuff. Ice cream. I can eat my ice cream. Okay. Definitely a Greta healthier alternative. Something hits different with the OG ice cream. That's true. Do you want to know why? Oh my gosh, am I ever gonna get through these? Okay. It's the way your neurology is ingrained. That's what's so funny with what my grandma said, right? It just becomes a neurological habit that I used to, since my mom eats ice cream, she introduces me to ice cream at a young age, or it starts with grandma and her, or at a young enough age, and there's an emotional association, especially if it is comforting from any emotional dynamic, positive, negative, or some emotional connection to the food. And so that carries on into life, that repeats into that child, now adult's next child's childhood, let alone that child being in the womb or in the eggs for it's a daughter. But not that I'm a daughter, but I do have left and right brain working simultaneously, so that might have some kind of additional chromosome, or not chromosome, but hormonal dynamic. Because I found in this class, there's like this class I took recently. It's not just like XY and XX or YY, but there's like XO, OO, XXO. I don't know. There's a couple of variations of actual hormones and things that the endocrine glands and different things secrete, which all make up, what we try to call, male or female. I'm not saying that they're, a lot of people might be more farther of the spectrum than the other, but the point is the gray area in between, for whatever we want to call it, is a lot bigger and more diverse than biology seemed to believe for a while. So that's interesting. Don't know what I'm saying, but let's go with that. It's true, mellow lactate pills. Yes, those, I think they do help a little bit. Oh, I was meowing those, like I was meowing those. Meow. I'd have like 2 before and then 2 during and maybe 2 after if I needed, because I didn't think you can really overdo it on enzymes. I mean, you can, but I don't know. Anyway, I think it kind of worked for me. But again, that's a long time ago. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice, just my personal experience. Papaya enzymes also help digestion. Interesting. I love papaya. I have chewable pills. They are so clutch for sure, mellow. Let's see. I'm going to ice cream soon. Just tell myself, okay. Favorite foods, French fries. Yeah, fries are great. That's why I like. Oh my gosh, am I gonna really sit here and talk about it? How long am I gonna do this tonight? I guess we're being absurd. We said, there you go. So, favorite food, French fries. McDonald's has really good French fries, but again, childhood, right? That's where we went a lot of time after daycare on the way home, or just right across the street. So like McDonald's fries have always stuck with me. Like I ever super dig that. That hasn't changed. Other ones over time change, right? Burger King fries, meh. Wendy's fries, pretty good. Dick's fries, a little greasy, but if you're in the mood for that, pretty good. Five Guys fries, those are pretty good. They're pretty greasy, and they always throw an extra like hardcore handful in the bag. Like that's their thing. It's all greasy and everything. Like, but they throw extra fries, and they're decently crispy. I think they're like pretty good. There's a steakhouse or a bar. I met a girl from Tinder this last year, or not Tinder. That's called on Bumble, right? Just meeting up, and we met at this like little pub bar. Like, shoot, it was a specialty type of beer thing. Anyway, neither of us were really that hungry, like genuinely, because we were just trying to hang out and chat, and then it was loud there, so we literally walked around the neighborhood, chatted for a while, and then like went home. It was cool. She was a cool person. But they brought us the fries. The fries are the best fucking fries I've ever had. They were a little thick, like steak fries. But the way they were seasoned, I used to think Red Robin's fries. This Red Robin seasoning, I used to buy that seasoning by the jar. I actually used to work for Red Robin for 2 years at Bellevue Mall in 2005 and 6, something like that. I was a oh my god, I was a triple T, I don't know, like a trainer. I mean, but we were like trainers. We helped train the new people. Basically, you've been there more than 3 months. You're kind of getting up to like the upper half, 50% of people who work there. Maybe 60. And then after like a year, you're definitely kind of been there a while. It seems to me, at least Red Robin, right in that time, because it doesn't take long for people to turn over. So I don't know. We got on the Red Robin French fries. I'm glad we have the comment on the screen. That's what super helped. So yeah, but the steakhouse or this beer pub house fries were the best for sure. Red Robin, and the seasoning is good on anything. And Johnny seasoning salt. That shit's so good. It's really good. I used to do it on steaks all the time back in the day. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't had steaks in a while. But steak sounds good. But Johnny seasoning salt is super good on French fries too. All right. Try avocado toast with everything but the bagel seasoning. Yeah, it doesn't really sound like it tastes good. Feels like it tastes good. Tastes like it tastes good. Something like that. Whataburger. They have a honey butter chicken biscuit. Whataburger. Honey butter chicken biscuit. See, like the KFC stuff? That's what it sounds like to me. Honey butter chicken biscuit thing. I don't know. That combination, doesn't really do it for me. I've never really been for like the crispy chickens, except the McDonald's. My God, I'm talking about all like my favorite. All right, just let it go, Aaron. Dive in. All right, so McDonald's like the McChicken with mayo. Just the way to make it with mayo, lettuce, and McChicken. Right? That's the kind of crispy chicken for some reason I like. Oh, because of my childhood neurology, right? Okay, so that's fine. But other than that, I don't really like crispy chicken salads or biscuits. Like the biscuit's a weird texture. It's crumbly. It makes the burger or whatever you're eating super dry. Like as you bite into it, it's like you can't even taste what's inside because you're just filled with like fucking, when people like crunch up crackers and put them in their mouths, and oh, it's 11:11. Did anybody put it in the comments? I'm so hard behind. They didn't. I called it first, unless it was in there because you're like on a 10, 15 second delay, I think, on YouTube. So, yeah, but like KFC on a rare occasion, right? And then, yeah, biscuits. Not really a fan of biscuits like that. I don't remember a time before I ate ice cream. No doubt. What a great comment, Willow. Oh, everything but the bagel seasoning is the best. All right. Christina said, glad you touched on that because emotions have so much to do with food tolerance. Oh, yeah. No, I bet. I mean, I know, like, I've connected all these things, and that's why, like, I'm like growing and developing on so many levels in so many different ways that matter in so many ways. So I'm following all my own impulses and intuitions for putting the energy into ways of refining, expanding in ways that are beneficial. But knowing where these areas I haven't refined in certain ways, I feel like, not that I'm saying it's bad or wrong, but I see myself ebb and flow and refinement from different things. That it's nice to know in my own psyche, in my own ego to understand the neurology and the connection instead of it helps to keep shame out. I'll put it that way. So when I have understanding more of myself, understanding why I like what I like, why I'm thinking what I'm thinking, maybe why am I feeling this way, why am I attracted to this thing or this person or this subject or this paradigm, or like, and make the connections. It helps me be okay. And in between, when you don't know, it's like I have to know the answer. It's like I'd like to know. It's interesting to me. It has to do with me. It's generated from me, right? So I don't want to be out there. I want to understand where it's coming from in here, and then what's in between, and what am I missing? Pull that all the way in, and be able to expand it out again. Something like that. Okay, so Red Robin has that goose. Yeah, good seasoning salt. Excuse me, it does. Trader Joe's for everything but the bagel seasoning. Hold on, let's see. Tony, cock rice, Cajun seasoned gum potatoes. Good to know. Enjoy the food talk. Take care. Bye, Christina. That was a few minutes ago, I think. That was only a minute ago. And no, what burger biscuits are soft and good. Okay, that sounds good. Honestly, the Popeyes chicken sandwich lives up to the hype. All right, good to know. That's good to know, because I've seen Popeyes around, and I remember going once in high school, and I was like, I just meh. But now that you said that, I'm like, all right, I've seen Popeyes, and I'm like, maybe when we're down in California, I'm like, dude, no, look, Mello said, and if you come out to Mello, then maybe we'll have to go do Popeyes. So we got 11, not like KFC. She was saying, if I gotcha, cool, that does sound good. That'd be interesting to try, because I don't really like them now. I feel like they're too, I don't know what they are, but the McDonald's breakfast sausages, not sausage breakfast sandwiches or whatever, that sausage or whatever, but the biscuits were stuffed with syrup. Dude, when that shit came out, I was like, oh man, that's a game changer, and that is really good. I liked those for a while, but let's see. 211, where Willow's at, which is 4, Chiportal, which is great. Gary Nemesis. Well, hi, Gary Nemesis. Is this a first time, long time listener, first time caller? It's funny, first time chatter. Okay, homemade barbecued burgers, grass finished pasture, raised cows. Yeah, dude, the best for sure. For sure. My some of my family, extended family, whatever, they purchased, if this is what you're talking about too, homemade burgers, grass fed, finished pasture, raised cows. Yeah, so if you purchase it that way, but I've had some of my family do that where they raise their own beef, so they honor the process from beginning to end, and they're raising this. And I know, the argument can be they're still killing the animal. I understand that, but there's dynamics. If that's going to happen, in a way to feed, in a culture, in the way that we live in this dynamic, what a beautiful step it is between, if that's where they're going, or the consciousness is going to not slaughter things, that in between, they find a way to not just buy it in a grocery store and dissociate. They're like, okay, I want to make this real to me, and I want to honor this as a living creature and learn from it and experience with it and go through this life and death process with it, not just like turning a cheek to what's happening and then to consume it. So I see many facets around that paradigm, and it can be used abusively and also beautifully. If there's a zoomed in understanding, contextual understanding of the dynamics involved. All right. There's a local barbecue close to me. They raise their own cattle. Very cool. The McGriddle, that's what it was for sure. Whataburger is only in Texas. I think there's 2 locations for Texas. Has a thing about In-N-Out versus Whataburger. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll try both, because I'll get In-N-Out, I think, when we're down there. I'd love to have my own farm one day. Yes. Okay. Hey, and we are at 3:33, and I'm going to end at 3:33:33. So I'm going to say to you guys tonight, I love you very much. Ice cream with Aaron, and we will see you tomorrow. I will be down with Zach and Jen, and Kala is there, and we're going to Mellow possibly there in 13 hours and 6 minutes. That's when I'll be landing. So please send us your love, send us your energy for safe flight, for all things synchronicities, beautiful things. We love you guys very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye.